And it looks like it's working on Streamlabs this week. Maybe? I don't know. Let's figure that out. So let me get things sorted out, and then we can just kind of get the chatter going as per normal. I guess it's a little bit different this week because now I actually have Streamlabs properly set up once again instead of a complete fumblefuck that I've had recently. But we will see. We'll see how it goes and see if I'm able to actually manage to keep it, all set up and working fine. Tell me if you guys there's any issues in hearing me, or if there's any issues. I have my fan in the background. I have it really low, but if it's a problem and maybe it's like muffling the sound, just tell me and I'll turn it off. I can deal with a little bit of hot temperature times until this the stream goes. But what are you guys up to this week? How's everyone going? What's going on with you guys? Just got finished reading the new chapters. Surprisingly, a lot of them came out before the actual fish release. Cause normally it's just like One Piece, Black Clover, My Hero Academia, like Promised Neverland. I think the only one that I had to really wait for was Jujutsu Kaisen, and oh my god, that chapter was absolutely insane. Like, everything about that manga, especially this arc, was crazy. Yeah, the Black Bulls going against the Kingdom. That was one of the theories that a lot of people had, because obviously the Black Bulls are very much about going towards their own. They're not going to, abandon Asta. I was very curious if we were going to get maybe, maybe a split between them. Maybe some of them were going to go and some of them would not for whatever reason. But I'm glad to see all of them showing up and, getting ready to go on against the Clover Kingdom and different members of the Magic Parliament. And really, like, when you think about it, because of the whole fact that they tied in the fact that if Asta fights back against them, he's pretty much going to go rogue, and anyone involved with him is going to be put up at risk of association. So now he doesn't really have to worry about it, because anybody like really close to him is in the Black Bulls, and they're probably all going to leave too. The only one really like what they got and I don't know why they'd really count Rebecca. I doubt they would. Kind of maybe you can look at but the Black Bulls all are just kind of game, and they're going to probably leave. I'm curious to know how this is going to go, how this is going to carry on into a further arc, and what story progression it's going to kind of add. Like, I did a video recently, I think it was, like 2 days ago, about, my theories on the Heart Kingdom and how it's going to come into play. I would really love to see Asta get, like, a sick, like, battle mount to add to his arsenal. Let's see, yeah, Black Bull's best squad. Let me see, Asta and his friends against the world, though. I almost said the world, but that doesn't fit the meme. No, I'll always love Asta, even though she denies it. Yeah, well, she's gonna be tsundere as hell for a while. That's just part of her. Shinra best boy. I do like Shinra. Shinra is probably one of my favorites from Fire Force, like including the manga. I like Arthur. What's weird is like he's not nearly as like attachable, I guess, really, because like. And the last one, he obviously, the one you could kind of compare him to for Soul Eater is Black Star. But Black Star, I think, just generally was a more likable character. But I thought it was kind of, a big stepping stone, get a big point for Arthur to top Black Star. But obviously, this is weekly. There's going to be a lot more, I'm guessing, chapters than Soul Eater. But you got to keep it in mind, Soul Eater was a monthly, so like you pretty much double, if not triple, the chapter size, maybe like 300 or so. But actually, isn't Fire Force is at like 180 something right now? So it's getting pretty high out there. But yeah, I still like the cast. Tamaki, I think, is definitely one of my favorites out of them. Yeah, Black Bull's best squad. Which is my least favorite opening or Fairy Tail 2018 2018 opening. Probably the first one. I like the second and the is it? Oh my, I'm trying to remember if it's 3 or 4. My guess is, I'd still say the first one. Yeah, because it's 24. No, it's 23, 24, 25, 26. I'm still going to go with the first one. I'm not a huge fan of the first one. My favorite one is probably 25. I really like that one. I think that one's pretty solid. Black Bull's best squad. Bankai Engine Zan Ryuken. That's, isn't that Yamamoto's Bankai? I know he's, actually, no, I think there's more Z's in his. I know his Bankai, or his Shikai is Ryujin Jaka. I had to look into it. Which entrance is more badass? The Black Bull showing up to save Asta, or Fairy Tail Guild saving Makarov from Magnologia? I personally like the Acnologia one just because they were in an unwinnable battle. They were fully ready to die in this case and go against Acnologia. And though I do like the Black Bulls, but really right now for them they could easily like get out of there unscathed. Like Acnologia was too much of an obstacle for them to overcome, especially like how powerful they were at the time. And there's absolutely nothing that they could have really done in that whole scenario to win. And the Black Bulls, as long as nobody like big ill shows up and it's just Damnatio, they should be fine. They just now they're going into the kingdoms. They got some stuff they're gonna go through, and I'm very curious to know where the story's gonna progress here. So I don't think they're just gonna forgive them. I don't think they're gonna have like a we're just gonna okay, the Black Bulls explain yourself or whatever. It's like no, you guys were still fully ready to go against the laws of the kingdom. There's gonna be some consequences to this. Jake and Orshinra saving Tamaki. I need to watch that episode. I don't watch a lot of the anime. Usually, whenever like big animes come out, I wait and binge them. I guess it's kind of different though with ones that I've already seen, like where I read the manga. I do want to watch that episode because I did really like that part of the manga, and from what I've seen, some of the kind of like the gifs look really good. So I'll definitely have to pick up some of those scenes or some of those episodes real soon. I saw like a couple, like a small scene with Tamaki, and I have to see what that animated like full episode is looking like. My Hero Academia season 4 hype. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see a couple scenes, especially the gentle stuff. Definitely love the gentle parts. Also, sup everybody? Yeah, what's up, JK Network? I read that. Siskelion versus 5 Elf going to be lit. So I've talked about that before. I've talked about before when it comes to the anime. I don't need every scene to be well animated because I know it is a weekly. It's a weekly anime. There's no way they're going to be able to keep like gorgeous animation all the time with the amount of people and budget that goes in it. It would have to Black Clover would have to be absurdly more profitable for them to boost it up. Like right now, from what I've seen, Wano arc and One Piece, like their anime is getting like a lot of good tender love and care. But I know part of that is also because Oda himself has been very passionate about Wano. Like he's been really hyped for Wano for a while, and now he's finally get to it. Because even though One Piece is like a Western, he's like super into like Japanese like older cultural stuff. I know he's like a big Kabuki fan, but you would have to kind of get something like that for Black Clover. All I care about with the anime is they animate the important scenes really nicely. As long as they do that, I'm fine. Like the last episode, there were some parts with Fuego Leon where I was just like, damn, the animation it's all right, but it could have been better. But like, all I wanted was that part where he walks out with the fire on to look good, and it did. So I was 100% fine with that episode. I'm gonna miss Seraph and Mavis. Me too. That was the sad part. They made it even more emotional in the anime, surprisingly. I think it was just that music and the soft voicing really did a lot for it. I hope the animation is on point that fight. Yeah, me too. I don't even need the whole fight. I just want the one scene when Marileona, I don't know anybody here who would be an anime only and be here, but I'll just say, like, without much, her purgatory spell, I just want that one scene. It's like gonna be probably like 10 seconds. As long as that scene, that whole moment where she busts her strongest spell and you just see her use all those attacks and incinerate like that entire area around her, I'll be 100% fine with the rest of the episode. That's all I care about with that entire episode, is I want to see Marileona just get justice to that sick attack, because it's such a cool move. Like, and it's her whole moveset is very like simplistic yet extensive the way that she handles it. And Purgatory is like she's just punching in every freaking direction and just making like a giant explosion around her. And you see all those kind of like weird cubic pieces of rock just floating around just get dusted. I guess in their case, just ashed. They're just gone. And I remember how hyped I was for that chapter. And Marileona she's still one of my favorite characters in the whole series. Like my number one for Black Clover. It's still between her and Zora. Like Zora's definitely I think gonna lead, because I just kind of guessing that he's gonna get way more spotlight than Marileona, because he's pretty much taken up the spot as like the main cast member, because you always have like the main character, you got his rival, the love interest character, and then you have like maybe like one or two more characters kind of thrown in. Zora, to me, he feels kind of like that right hand character that's just gonna be hanging out all the time with the main character, with the main character and the female lead and just kind of like be in, in the part of things, I can definitely tell that Tabata really likes him. And the fact that he's going to get more screen time than Mereoleona, and he's probably going to get a lot more in the long run of just like usage out of his character. I just can call that I'm going to like him as my favorite character more than Mereoleona in the long heat of things. Especially now, because if the Black Bulls leave the country, this is going to be pretty much the main cast for a while, which is good because one of the things about Black Clover is when you looked at, like, okay, here's the Magic Knight squads. This is the main one. The Black Bulls are the main character resides, and we got mainly them, and then we got some other characters from other Night Orders. And my only real complaint about Black Clover for a while was we weren't seeing a lot of the other Night Orders. We weren't getting a lot of their characters. We did get a good amount throughout this last arc, the Elf Resurrection arc. But this whole point, I feel like Tabata, for one, I feel like Tabata has planned a lot of this. He knows what he's got going on. And the fact that now you're pretty much taking those characters that have all been really nicely fleshed out and developed, and you're going to make that kind of like solo them. You're cutting out all of the other, Night Orders, not like forcefully like, oh, we're just going to kill them all off so we don't have to deal with them. It's like, no, the main cast, if they go rogue, then it's going to make sense to have all these, all these characters that you already, or got used to, and it's going to fit really well, and you're going to be able to bring in more characters as well. There'll be people from other kingdoms. You could bring new characters from the Diamond Kingdom or the Heart Kingdom that maybe they team up with, It's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. Yamamoto's Bankai's Zanka no Tachi. Yeah, that's kind of confused me, because I remember his starting with a Z, but which is weird because I don't see a lot of Japanese wording with Z. I can think of Zangetsu. I don't know a lot of like straight Japanese wording that starts with a Z. I mean, I can still kind of like, even without Japanesing, like knowing Japanese, I think I can think of enough anime to think of words and names enough without even really know their meaning, just to know that those words exist. Kamikagura. Kamikagura. Isn't that oh my god, I think I know that. I was thinking of Sen Kagura. I don't know. Which other squads you see join the Black Bulls to help Asta? Personally, I don't think any of the other ones are going to leave. They have no real reason to. They have no real reason to kind of like join up with the Black Bulls. Why would they want to? Why would they want to abandon their kingdom for, like, 'cause some of them are close to Asta, like Klaus, Mimosa. I think Mimosa might, maybe but I don't think it's going to be like, oh, we're all joining up. All of us, Asta helped us, we're going to help him. I think a lot of them are going to kind of be in this still kind of like shaken state, and going against their kingdom is pretty risky. And we don't even know, because the Magic Parliament, it makes sense it exists, and we don't know a lot about him yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if, say, like, you had a bunch of retired captains that resided in there that used to be captains that are now, like, politicians, and you'd easily be able to have strong characters to fight back against them, and that would just kind of, like, make a dangerous area for them to go against, because there's still obviously, because most of the captains are all in their, like, early 20, I think, like, besides Real's, 19? Everyone else was in their 20s to 30s, so, like, you easily have, like, all these other captains just retired politicians. It would make sense. And, you could fit all that kind of just, like, sitting on top of each other and, make that the enemies. I feel like we're not going to get, like, a straight, like, oh, Black Bulls and Cove versus the Clover Kingdom arc. That feels like that's too close. I think we're going to get a lot more of, like, setup and kind of story building after we just had, like, a straight year and a half of action. Which, obviously, is a battle shonen, so you're going to get a lot of action. But at the same time, we need some setup for more stuff before we just get back into all that craziness again. Anyone hurts Nezuko, she'll die. Tsunemi's not a nice guy. He's never been a nice guy. He's still not a nice guy. And I can understand why people would hate him for what he did to Nezuko in the anime. So people are gonna, except for the people that just like his craziness over how cute Nezuko is. So that's gonna be a little bit interesting to see. What's funny is I see all these people like talking about, like, because obviously Kimetsu no Yaiba is super hype and people are loving it. But all the people, like, there's so many people that are mad that it's getting so much hype, and it's like, this is exactly how, like, people see, like, the Black Clover and My Hero Academia people, because they're also, like, new gen super hype, loving their series. It's like, quit hating on Kimetsu no Yaiba. They have this newly flourished anime fan base, and they're very happy about it. Do you think Natsu will fight Toka himself, or will it be another team battle against her? I mean, I don't think he's going to fight her himself. what I would actually find really interesting is if his main fight in all this goes more towards Ignia, and say instead Lucy's is against the White Witch, which would be really interesting because even if he went against the White Witch, I don't think it would just be Natsu because there's no real kind of like personal thing for him to do that, whereas there is with Ignia, and that was one of the reasons why obviously you would have Natsu versus Zeref without having anybody else involved. It was a very personal fight between them, so that's kind of like where I would like to see. I mean, other than that, I think it would have to be a group fight, but I think Lucy would be a really interesting one to see. Like, can you imagine her just like her against a big character, and maybe that's going to lead up to her kind of just like jumping up in the ranks. I mean, she could easily become one of the strongest, especially with her Star Dress mix. I mean, once she gets, she needs all 12 keys, probably 13 with the, I'm never going to be able to pronounce that snake's name, and maybe the Celestial Spirit King, because she has enough ties, and it wouldn't surprise me if like the Celestial Spirit King's like, I never had a key, but I want you to have my key. I've made myself a key and to give to you. It just would make sense. She's fixed racial relations that was caused, between the humans and the celestial spirits. So, and they all really like her. So, during the time skip, I mean, it wasn't like a long time for them. I mean, but I imagine, them understanding time and probably still like not seeing Lucy for even in their time, because it's 3 months is a day, so 4 months is a year, and it was 7 years. So does that like a month? And like I imagine for them, somebody you see constantly, multiple times a day for them, and then suddenly for a straight month you don't see him. It's probably gonna freak him out. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if she gets like Celestial Spirit Queen dress, and then eventually combines them all. Because one of the things, if you go look up, because Hiromashima is a big fan of Monster Hunter. I talked about this before on the stream. I've showed it. If you weren't there for that, you can go look it up. He did a special armor and weapon set for Monster Hunter, and it's all kind of designed with like the Celestial Spirit keys set, and it wouldn't surprise me if he used that for Lucy's like Celestial Spirit Queen outfit if he ended up doing it. Kirishita and Momoko Nodo have beautiful voice actors. The Persona protagonist at Fuka. Oh yeah, that's good. Do you think Elsie the villain? I'm very curious to know if she's actually one of the Oración Seis Galactica, and if not, is she above them? Is she below them? What is her placement in all these things? Because she's definitely a villain. One of the things I really don't want her to be a protagonist. I don't want her to be on the good side at all. I want her to stay a bad guy. Because the thing I really like about her and Justice in this, I know a lot of people have like, oh, she looks just like Urza, and Justice looks just like Jalal. That's the point. The whole point that he's using them is he's switching the roles. Instead, it's now like this kind of like game of cat and mouse where Justice is this law kind of seeking space military guy, and he's constantly going after this criminal. We already saw from their small kind of like interaction during that whole part when Justice was really brought in, and we saw a little bit of Elsie, that they've been doing this game for a while. I don't want her to become good, and I don't want Justice to be bad. I would actually really like to see like maybe them both be bad, and maybe Justice like obsession with her just like slowly like turns him crazy. I don't know. I actually would be okay with that one. I just don't want her to become a good, because then it's then it actually just Wolf you kind of like Urza's just there. I mean, I don't want that, because that's really the fact that she is very scummy and she's a villainous space pirate is like the very very differentiating point between her and Urza. Like Urza's actually like a really good person. New animator on 2 team for Black Clover. Are there really? That's good. That means they're probably building up for some of the big fights. Because even though the recent couple fights, like the animation has been kind of junky, but they weren't big fights. Like Fuego Leon's fight was literally him showing up and then just completely bodying the shit out of that elf. Yami versus Elf Charlotte really wasn't much of a fight. There was a couple scenes that were good choreography. I really loved that cool like thorn sword, but not like a big important one. The ones that I will legitimately be mad if it's not well animated, and I mean like mad, is Finral's fight. If Finral's fight and any of the kind of tag team moments, if those aren't looking good, I will be mad. Finral's moment is still one of my favorite in the whole arc. I really loved that part. I thought it was really good without having to like give Finral like a cool big fancy power up or anything kind of ridiculous. It was just Finral being a good person and Finral being a good brother, even though
Langris was a, psychotic little shit. But he's getting better. I'm sure that Finral, he's going to fix that relationship between him and his brother. I hope Rebecca becomes badass super soldier. I'm very intrigued to see how her character goes down. Do you think Shiki's a human-machine hybrid? No, I don't. I actually did a theory video on Shiki's origin if you want to go check it out on my channel. Zora and Marileona, yeah, those are my favorite too. I hope they... Also, one of the ones... Obviously, I really like Asta too. Yami, of course, everyone likes Yami. One character I really like, I don't think gets enough love, is Mars. I actually really like Mars. I hope they animate the team fight between Asta and Zora well. That's one of my favorite scenes in the entire arc. That one is really good. That one I think that doesn't need to really be amazing. Because, it's a very simplistic scene. Zora jumps in front of the attack, builds up his, his magic circle, reflects it, Asta hits it back, Zora reflects it again. That one can be laid out really easily and still not need to be amazingly done. The ones that need to be, looking good like Chris. Because we saw how much, if you watch the anime, you know how great that Julius versus Patri looked. There's so many parts in that just looked phenomenal. And I don't need everything to be that good, but I really want the important scenes to look, something you'd show off. When you get a gift of it just to be like, damn, dude, look at how crazy this scene was in this episode. And, get people intrigued. Because that's, a lot of the time, that's what will get people, kind of interested in a series. You show them, a specific scene that's, kind of you're previewing it to them without giving, a big spoiler, and it's like, all right, win me over. You show them something sick like that, and they're like, all right, I'm on board. That was pretty awesome. Which anime scene would you consider a Mortal Kombat fatality? From what series? It would depend. The only way Asta can stay in the kingdom is if he overthrows the royals. I mean, that's not going to happen. That seems like too big of an obstacle. That's why one of the things I think would be really cool if Yuno didn't go, and then every once in a while we still Yuno back in the kingdom, and he's got his own little story arc, and he's rising up in the ranks. And then maybe once Asta comes back, it's imagine a year or two later. Imagine a year or two later, and in the story wise, and all the Black Bulls have gone through this big story. They've gone through a couple 2 or 3 arcs of their own, and it's we're finally getting back to the Clover Kingdom. Man, we haven't seen Yuno in a year, and it's been a year or so after a time skip, and we're gonna see Yuno, and Yuno as a captain. That would be really sick, and probably drive Asta insane, and it would be such a good moment for both of them. And I think that would be really interesting to see kind of laid out. Well, okay, I read that. I hope we get to see other members that Yami said are doing missions soon. I mean, the only other one that we really, are laid up that we don't really know about are, is the vice captain, if there even is a vice captain. But it would make sense if maybe when they leave, they go to where the vice captain is, if that character exists. Charmy as the chick, what? Magna as an elf, what? You think Lobelia is Maria's sister? No, I don't. I think Lobelia is just kind of her own little cruelty creature. I hope that we see. I read that. Do you think the other? So what do you think about the chapter explained? You goddamn that comment of yours and all my goddamn videos. Oh god, where was I? Lost my spot. So much character development. Come on, please. Yuno's had some good ones. I think that he's been doing pretty well. We saw some good stuff in the last arc, and we saw it's not like Tabata doesn't seem to know what he's doing. He seems to have a grasp on things. He's already laid out some good stuff for Yuno. We will see that soon, though. Any Eden Zero crew becomes criminals. I mean, they're already criminals. They already went against the kingdom, or against the space government. I keep forgetting their. Was it Star Federation Alliance? I think how it's, the long ass name is. Could still help with the events involving the Golden Dawn and all. I actually, like I said, I would like it and prefer it if Yuno stayed behind, because it's gonna seemingly be too hard for them to kind of clear everything up. I would think it would be much more interesting for Yuno to try and fix things by ranking up and climbing the kind of political position ladder. Maybe he eventually takes Damnation's spot, and you kind of get a Sasuke arc, but instead of Sasuke being the criminal, it's the main characters and crew are off on the run, and Yuno is trying to rise the ranks and fix things through law and structure. I don't know. I'm not gonna overhype the anime I love. That's okay. Denji's second battle of the Blade Devil is gonna be hyped. Dude, the fact he was able to block him, he's already shown that he can keep up with him speed wise. I'm curious to know if he's got some form of power up. I want to know if he's got some form of like new chainsaw mode, like maybe one of the chainsaws on his arms kind of like retracts, and he's like, I can put that chainsaw on my other arm, where it's literally just maybe a second chainsaw right there, but one is going in one direction and one is going the opposite, and that would kind of give it like this like clamp tearing effect, or maybe like the one chainsaw left like doubles in size, and it's just like some great sword chainsaw. That'd be pretty sick. I hope so. Jalal let me strip Urza. Oh shit. The shipping. Well, that's logically what's funny about that is actually like Urza's biggest weakness is Jalal, and it's like, how do you exploit that as much as possible? Take Jalal's clothes off. How far do you think the difference in strength between Shiki in the beginning of the series base Natsu is so far? Wait, is this? Oh, just very start versions? I mean, it's still pretty considerable, because the difference between like Haru had kind of like some fighting aspects, like mentally kind of like laid out, but he had no real experience. Shiki had fighting aspects laid out, but his experience was literally not realistic. It was all kind of like games and just him practicing. And, the gaps between them is like, hey, I think I can do stuff, and hey, it's like, hey, I can do stuff, but I don't know really how to fully apply it. And obviously Haru needed a little bit more technique, because he didn't have any control over his weapons when he started. He just kind of had like the lessons in mind, whereas Shiki was much more of like, I have a base idea, but wasn't really sure how to employ it. Whereas Natsu was very well balanced in terms of control over his own ability and his fighting experience. And when you level those out, Natsu would just come out on top, because he's had more battles laid out than Shiki has. He's more durable, and he's much more able to improvise like in combat, as we saw. Like that was one of Natsu's things. Like, I mean, he was able to kind of figure stuff out, take a lot more risks, because he knows not only what his body can take and what he can handle, but also like assessing a situation with an enemy. Nezuko running in child form has become a pool of memes. Dude, I love the Nezuko running memes, are fantastic. Do you think Igni is the strongest dragon god? No, my guess is it's going to be the last one. I just have that kind of like ladder mentality of like, whichever last one is probably going to be the strongest. But I still have the theory that there's going to be 7 dragon gods, because the dragon gods are all named after luminary days. You have because each of them, it's like Earth Day, Water Day, Fire Day, Sunday's obviously last, Gold Day, Moon Day, and Wood Day. And the ones excluded are Earth and Sun. And what is Natsu? Natsu means summer. Sunday is the first day of the week. So you have the first, Natsu being the first dragon slayer we saw, and Natsu summer and the sun kind of just tie in together. And we know Natsu is going to have to get up to dragon god level eventually. So I think he'll become the sun dragon god. And it's also, you also have like kind of like an extra like little tie to it, which is funny. This is like extra kind of like fan theory-y, because Aknologi was the dragon of the apocalypse, and Natsu could become this, like, because E&D was also kind of like this world-ending kind of like level threat. And Natsu, if he becomes the sun dragon god with like the E&D stuff, like maybe because of that like kind of like dark ethereous powers, maybe it becomes a black, you could see like a red sun with like black aspects to it, and the black sun is actually one of the signs of the apocalypse. I know in Christian mythos, I think it's one of the last ones with like the whole astronomical abnormalities with like a black sun and a red moon, which would be really cool to see like how that goes with Natsu. And then Earth Dragon being the last one, like it just like maybe there's a dragon that controls, like it's like, oh, I can do some crazy planet shit. And we already saw with Eleftheria, either him, what's funny because he's the Law Dragon, it's kind of like loose thinking of like, because he's the Law Dragon, I thought Law of the Land or something kind of like, live, whatever, like nature, kind of like, eater, what is it, dog eat dog world, that kind of saying. Or the fact that tablet-looking thing that he has with each of the dragon gods, like powers somehow like indicating on it. That thing looks like a portal or something, which makes me kind of curious. Maybe there is an Earth Dragon God, but he was sealed up. Maybe he was another dragon that, kind of fled, and they, he wanted to, like, be like, oh, let's team up to go fight Actologia, and the other dragon gods, like, maybe turned against him because they didn't want to do that, and, it was a risk to, their safety. So, something along those lines. I don't know, we'll see, though. who watches new Radiant season in October. I haven't watched much of the anime. I read the manga. I'm currently rereading it. I was rereading it yesterday, and I'm gonna reread more after this stream. I have the first 4 volumes. I think there's a 5th one out. I haven't checked, but I want to catch up on those. With the anime, I was a little bit annoyed that they were changing stuff. They were altering like not only like scenes, but like some of the like the character backgrounds, which I didn't really like. But I don't know. Maybe they altered after I got to Rumble Town. I do really like Grimm, so I'm hoping that getting back to it, they gave Grimm justice. I'll have to look. I'll have to look at the anime after I get caught up with the manga. I'm definitely gonna keep trying to keep up with the manga after I get caught up from this one. Shiki versus Natsu to beginning of the series. I'm gonna go with Natsu. Just Natsu because of the fact that he's more durable and he has a lot more fighting experience because he'd been fighting like people for years at that time. Elsie is most likely chaotic, neutral, evil. Oh, she's a space pirate. She's bad. There's I don't think there's a really nice thing you can really kind of lay out about a space pirate. And she was willing to sell people into slavery, so she's clearly not a good person. I mean, it's logical, like I said, space pirate, so. Mishima has stated that he hates when the sadder villains are treated too heroic and people ignore their crimes. That's good. I mean, that's one of the things that I think people kind of weirdly gloss over sometimes. If they like a villain, they're like, yeah, they do a bunch of bad stuff. You're like, I'll shrug it off and treat them like they're great, though. I think Eden Zero will introduce a power that's better than Ether Gear. I mean, there might be some form of different version. I think Ether Gear is kind of fine how it is because there's the difference between the powers in Fairy Tail and Eden Zero is Eden Zero is much more of kind of part Fairy Tail and part Rave Master. Because with Rave Master, but for the most part, character powers were just kind of scattered. There was no real system. Some character you had C can use magic. Haru has the Rave power. Ellie has Tonfa blasters that she can channel magic into. Okay. Musico was a silver claimer, and you had Let who had dragon techniques. The characters powers, there was no kind of build. Fairy Tail had magic, and then obviously had stuff like lost magic and whatnot. With Eden Zero, there's a lot of technological things that you can really just give to characters, and then Ether Gear is its own kind of extra thing. You're kind of half and half. It'd be like putting characters from Fairy Tail in the Rave Master world, where you have all these characters with different weapons and abilities, but then you have some characters with magic and certain special traits to what they have. And obviously there was magic in Rave Master, but it wasn't structured really. It was kind of just free range spells. And Ether Gear is much more of how magic is in Fairy Tail, and a lot of character powers in series where it's much more defined as you have a type, you have an ability, you have certain aspects of them, and they kind of tie together. They're not going to be as kind of free ranged as something kind of like Naruto has jutsu, and you can have I've learned 50 jutsu stemming out of shadow possession technique, and then it's I also have one fireball technique just because I can learn it because it's cool. It's okay, that's fine. Where was I? I've been really busy and have 2 quizzes this week. Well, I hope you do good in our quizzes. I really want the anime to do Valkyrie dress justice. That too, I think I'm hoping that part is good because that was a really big character moment for Noelle. Let's say Urza and Yami just have a straight sword fight with no magic or tricks. Who would win due to skill? Oh, Urza. In terms of just swordsmanship, Urza would win. Because Urza also has, she's shown you she can really fight with swords between her toes. She is, just in swordsmanship, she's really good. She's not the best. I still think Mifune is probably my favorite in terms of just swordsmanship. And, Mifune is not my favorite swordsman, but in terms of just, the style of swordsmanship, I think is really sick. Shiki versus Shinra? Depends. Shiki is generally more powerful, I'd say, but Shinra has a dual link, and obviously, being able to move at light speeds and beyond is really impressive, but he doesn't have the ability to control that at the moment, so you can't really count that, unless you said just, strongest versus strongest. But then it's Shiki is at, a third of the story that Shinra's at. It's kind of unfair. Fairy Tail fans are starting to say Shiki is a copy of Natsu. They've been saying that for a while, but it's anybody who actually has read Fairy Tail and Eden Zero, there's so many differences between them. Shiki is a big emotional crybaby, and, he can get riled up too easy, but Natsu riled up was I'm just gonna fight people. Shiki riled up can mean a lot of things. He can get too emotional over characters. He can get too nervous. He's very awkward. their characters, like, outside of, like, general, like, hey, I'm a shonen main character and I like my friends, it's like, well, what else is really tying them together? They don't even really have the same facial structure. Like, Shiki has a much more sharp-eyed look to him. F for Valkyrie. That was sad. That was a really sad chapter. You think we'll see Laxus use login? No, I don't. I mean, eventually if he becomes Guildmaster, you know, it'll just be kind of a thing for him. But I don't think it'll be a general thing that he'll really use. Like, it's not as often. Macro was able to spam it more because Macro was already on, like, near death's door. Laxus with it, I think Laxus would be cooler if he kind of, like, devised it in his own version. Or maybe we got, like, Dragon Law or something. Well, I guess that would tie into Eleftheria. What if Eleftheria's law thing was kind of tied to Law the spell? I don't know. Very interesting. He's a dragon. He might not have the same side effects. Or it's like a dragon with the curse of Ankh-Saram. Could you imagine that? That'd be absolutely unbalanced and ridiculous. Yami versus Yuno? Oh, Yami. What? Who do you think would make a great voice actor for Shiki? I don't know a lot of dub voice actors. And I don't know a lot of... I can't name a lot of voice actors by name. I don't know. I'd have to look at a list. I don't know, though. I would have to, like, listen to... I think something for him much... If I just had to guess, just, like, the sound, it would have to sound a lot more kind of childish and innocent. Not like what they did to Seth. Seth in the Radiant anime sounded like he was 10. I think it would just have to make him sound more friendly. Because, like, Haru sounds a bit rougher. Natsu sounds kind of like a wild dude. He's ready to kind of, like, to fight anybody anytime. It fit him really well. Shiki's needs to sound like... You'd think he's just, like, this nice little cinnamon roll guy, but he's also kind of crazy. I already read this one. Let me see. It's too bad we never saw Zeref use Law since he technically invented it. We don't know if he invented it, but he definitely knew it. I mean, he doesn't have to. I mean, it'd be too OP if he used it. But Zeref, I think, would be kind of hard using it because the curse would probably mess with his ability to use it because of the way that it works and the way that the curse of Ankh-Saram works. Yuno and Leo need their own character arcs. Yuno is already progressing fine. Leo has gotten, like, no real character like, he's gotten some character moments, but really only, like, small, isolated ones. He hasn't got, like, really, like, a spotlight, I'd say. He really needs, like, a part where he gets to do, you know, hold into his own. Obviously, that was really hard in the last arc because all these elves running around, but in the next one, we could have it. We could have him finally get to be that kid. They're called the Star Alliance. I could have sworn it was the Star Alliance Federation or something, but yeah. You think Eden Zero will have gods? Cosmic beings, I would go because there's a gap between more of like a mythological god and like a cosmic being kind of god, and cosmic being is much more of just like an advanced being to the point where they're called a god versus like a mythological like creator being god kind of thing. It's kind of like weird to look at them that different ways, but it's just kind of like how I guess you would really differentiate like certain aspects between beings, I guess. I don't know. I hope Tabata has Austin Yuno fight each other at some point. That'd be really cool if they maybe we get something like the Black Bulls are fleeing and Yuno tries to stop them for whatever reason, and we get like an Austin Yuno showdown before they leave. I don't know. That would be really cool to have that kind of moment, and just to see them on opposite ends. Spoilers for Battle Neons. One of my characters are going to play a crucial role in revealing the identities of Tenka's parents. That's pretty good. I mean, are they going to betray them or something? Who is more twisted, Minerva? Who was more twisted, Minerva, Angel, or Kyoka? Oh, Kyoka by far. Kyoka by far was like way more twisted. Like when they went into Succubus Eye and Minerva saw all those like Shikigami like melted paper versions of her guild. That was pretty fucked. E&D, the demon god of Revelation. Wait, what? I don't know if I know what you mean by that. Do you think Key will flesh out more like Hockey? No, I don't want that to happen. Hockey has too many kind of like hard, fast, loose things where there's not as much consistency as there should be. Key sensing should just be what it is. We were already good with key sensing. Do you think the kingdom has demons? Maybe their king is one. I think that you're going to have at least one. And maybe kind of like partially demons versions of characters. Maybe like a human with like a little bit of demon like spliced into them or something. And maybe just like accepting it kind of like a, you know, maybe like a half-breed. Or maybe it's, oh, I'm 10% demon. And throughout the arc, maybe we see characters and they're higher ranked. And, you know, because they have like a higher percentage of demon in their body. until finally their boss, who's just a full demon. That'd be really cool. I'd fully be on board with that. That would open up a really interesting kind of like story going on for the eventual Spade Kingdom arc, because that arc is going to need to be extra wild given their hype. And we already saw what a demon is capable of, so if this is actually like an actual demon and not just like a character called a demon, we're going to get something pretty insane. How long do you think Season 4 of My Hero Academia is going to go? Probably after the Gentle arc is my guess. Valkyrie became one of my favorite characters in Eden Zero. That like little teaser bit before in Chapter 51 was real sad when you finally got to see how it was. I think Black Bulls is the strongest squad. I mean, probably overall. I mean, the other squads, it's because we haven't really seen a lot of like the expanse of what they have. We've only really seen like the captains and like one or two characters. I mean, the only other one that's like, where are we gonna kind of like look at? We already saw Langris. I mean, the Golden Dawn probably has a lot more Chads running around. We just saw Langris is really powerful. Yuno's really powerful. Black Clover hasn't even had a true training arc yet. Hopefully after this arc. I'll know that the Manaskin arc was pretty training, dude. I don't know if I agree with that one. And plus, I mean, if you count the novel, which is canon, like Asta training with Fonzel, then you got to count that a little bit. I mean, it's not the same because it was like a personal character thing before all this stuff down. It's kind of like sorta, yeah, true, but the fair pirates don't have to be evil though. Pirates were like murder, rape, and pillage. They were really bad people. Train arc are boring in my opinion. That's why my hero game. Oh my god. Training arc are boring in my opinion. That's why My Hero Academia got boring to me. It depends on how it's presented. It entirely depends on how it's presented. If you make it just kind of like long, brought out, nothing kind of eventful, and it's really kind of just characters talking more instead of showing things, then of course it's gonna seem more boring. You gotta give like things flair. Like I remember when Naruto was training to get like when he was building up for Rasen Shuriken. That was pretty cool. I like that. I like seeing like his cheat ways of like how to train. Maybe remember when he was getting when he was learning summoning, and you kept seeing him summon frogs, and you got this comedy as the other frogs like talk shit to him, and then you finally saw, or did he go? Yeah, no, it was tadpoles. I don't think he summoned anything until like anything real frogs, and then he got Gamma Blunta, and that was like a sick scene. You gotta you gotta balance it, and you gotta add like those hype moments in there, so it's like, damn, this character did something wild. I can't wait to see them fully got it. Like, I'm trying to think of like a good training arc off the top of my head. I mean, but you don't have to, it also depends on the length. Like, you don't need to do like, oh, I'm gonna do an absurdly long training arc. I'm gonna do a training arc where everything kind of like, you think it's a training arc, but really bad stuff happens. Bad guys show up. It's like, no, you can still do a training arc. But like, one of the things that you should do with like a training arc is kind of like get situations where you wouldn't see characters like fighting. Like if you had like a Black Clover training arc, we could see like, oh, we're gonna have Zora go up against Magna or Luck or something. We're gonna see Charmy against Vanessa. You could have something kind of like that where it's like these characters wouldn't normally fight each other, but we're going to set it up to see what that would be, and you would still get like a pretty good kind of scene, and they're competitive and rowdy enough that we would get like at least a pretty pushing fight, like probably the full extent they're just not going to kill each other. It's entirely how training arcs are handled, and I can get that though. Like My Hero Academia definitely has some like slow points where it's like nothing's really going on, and it's like obviously the fans like it, so it's like I can't really complain. If I'm not liking it, then it's like whatever, I support it through the Shonen Jump app. Like obviously I'm supporting all the official releases there, but I only have like I think 2 volumes, so I can't really be like I'm a huge My Hero Academia supporter. It's like no, I support it, just not as like heavy as like a big fan. As long as the fans in mass are happy, I'm happy, because that's what's really important in my opinion. Guts versus Asta in a straight fight, like Asta would win. He's got way more power, superhuman stuff than Guts. If it's just like a straight like take away, like if you took away Black Form and just put Asta versus Guts is probably gonna cut him in half. I think the Black Form is really well, and then I guess he does have Berserker armor, and he's got the cannon arm. I kind of want to go with Guts in this scenario, because like you take away all the things that like Asta gets advantage wise, and he's kind of just like a really strong dude with like heavy ass swords. And really, that's Guts, but he also has the Berserk armor, so... What do you think getting the Earth and Water Spirits for the Earth Spirits, either Mars or Charlotte, for the Water Spirit Noelle? Noelle's, I think, is obvious. I think it will be Noelle or Nozzle. I don't know. Like, I'd have to look at a tree. I don't think water, even though it's Mercury is liquid, it still would fall under kind of like Earth category. Earth, though, I really want to go to Mars because I really like Mars's character and I want to see him kind of keep up. Best girl, Rebecca is back. I like Gamora more. More is my favorite girl in Eden Zero at the moment. You're going to watch the Breaking Bad movie. Oh, I don't even have to finish that post to know that I'm going to watch it. Of course. I want to give Gamora the biggest hug as I possibly can ever. She's really good. I like her. I hope you have fun at church, dude. How do you rank all the Dragon Slayers? I still have Acnologia number 1. Oh yeah, if you include Acnologia number 1. I want to wait for some of these Dragon Eaters to really lay it out. I'm very curious at Georg because he's not, like, the Dragon Eaters are already seemingly around Spriggan level, and Georg is the boss of them, so I'm wondering if he's going to be, like, upper Spriggan tier, like, maybe, like, a person to contend with August. And a Dragon Slayer, logically, like, is one of those characters who, like, could keep up, maybe not, like, straight August level, but within range. Maybe kind of like, oh, he's stronger than Larcade, but he's not as strong as Irene and, Irene or August kind of thing. I think that would be logical just because he is a Dragon Slayer. Dragon slaying magic is OP. Dragon Eaters especially seem to have, like, a weird thing about them. I'm very curious about them because I actually had a theory that maybe the Dragon Eaters thing isn't, they can't, because they don't get motion sickness. There has to be a trade-off. Because, like, second generation Dragon Slayers, like, they have Dragon Force, but their Dragon Force isn't even, like, it seems easier to achieve, but the boost isn't even close to actual Dragon Slayer Dragon Force, like, natural Dragon Force. Like, even, like, the forced artificial by taking a large amount of power kind of Dragon Force isn't even, is way above second, like, Lacrima-based Dragon Force. And so I'm wondering maybe the 5th gen reason, like, okay, you don't have motion sickness, and they seem like more powerful quickly. Maybe their thing is they can't eat their attribute, and they can only eat dragon meat, maybe? Which would be obviously, like, a really, like, heavy trade-off for a Dragon Slayer. You trade off your weakness, but you trade off, like, one of their biggest strengths, is obviously being able to fully gain back stamina and magical power is, like, a huge aspect of being a Dragon Slayer. Because you're already a tank, and you have a way to fully stem yourself back up as a tank. That's pretty heavy of, like, an ability to have on. Asta versus Escanor. Oh, Escanor would kill the shit out of Asta. Asta, one thing that you have to keep in mind, I talked about this before, with Asta, although he's anti-magic, and obviously Escanor's magic, that doesn't change the fact that Asta is weaker to large range spells. Like, Escanor could literally just take his Pride Flare, throw it at the ground, and then just melt the area. And then Asta's going to fall into lava. So, I mean, like, he has things he could go against. He can't go against everything. Which is kind of, like, one of the things we know about Asta's weaknesses to his, to the way he fights. If Leo doesn't get something, he'll be the new Rock Lee of the series. I mean, yeah, that'll be really sad if that happens. Lee won't be stronger than Fuego Leon or Mara Leona by the end of the series. I want him to. He's like a good kid. I had to get a drink really fast. I mean, he's got a good character aspect. And Fuego Leon, I don't expect him to become that much stronger once he gets Spirit Dive. I think that's going to be like his big jump, and then maybe kind of just like small escalation points. Mara Leona will probably get kind of the same thing. Leopold, I think, will get big jumps, because it's not like Tabata's given up on him. He had a good moment. He had a good personal moment during the Resurrection arc. And we'll see. Rex looking back, when Zhao Mei said, what they find there foresaw the tragedy of Valkyrie. Yeah, that was rough. That was all rough stuff for the gal. What's up, Sheridan Kane? How's it going? By the way, Rex, do your Funimation's leaks hitting in Japan? Yes, I did. I thought that was pretty wild. They're getting in some bad stuff now. They're getting in some bad stuff. One second. Okay. I had to reply to somebody. Yeah, that whole thing was ridiculous. I mean, they're idiots for recording all. Like, saving any of that information was stupid. They're already pretty dumb.
I'm very curious to know how it's going to be. And now there's like reveals of Chris Sabat having a casting couch. So I mean, it seems like he's the Harvey Weinstein of dubbed anime, from what I can tell. Yo just came after the latest Kimetsu no Yaiba. Yeah, I don't. It said Demon Slayer, but I read it's Kimetsu no Yaiba. I don't know. Episode also fuck Tsunemi. Tsunemi is a jerk. Like what's funny is Tsunemi. The series right now potentially is on the last arc. It might extend because of how successful it's doing right now. But Tsunemi is like still a dick. He's not a good guy. I mean, he's not pure evil, but there's no like scene that makes me kind of like, damn, he's redeeming himself. Like Nozel, his whole part, like I talked about, he's not evil, he's not bad. He seems to be much more of like, he doesn't like people who can't pull their weight in the Magic Knights. Like, he even talked shit about himself when Fuego Leon got, defeated by Patri, and he wasn't there to do anything, and neither were, any of the people that got teleported out. So, there were aspects to his character that I kind of came to, like, really forgive him in a lot of ways. Tsunemi, though. Tsunemi's a piece of shit. One of my favorite Black Clover characters that aren't in the Black Bulls is Mars. Yeah, I really like Mars, too. Luffy's a pirate and he isn't that bad. That's because One Piece pirates aren't real pirates. Pirates are really bad people if you look into, like, stories of pirates. Like, they're lawless. That's part of the whole thing that makes them pirates. What makes a good character arc? I think it really just depends. Like, anything that really, like, a display of a character's, like, progression. They have some form of good moment that you can really kind of reflect on, either being a step forward for them, or maybe like a reflect on an old thing. Something kind of like, I'm trying to think of a character off the top of my head. I mean, like a really good character moment. Look at Natsu. Natsu in the Sirius Island arc, when they had the whole debacle with, Hades, and during the end of that, when Natsu and, everyone was like seemingly at that all is lost moment, and they were all like starting to freak out, and Natsu gave kind of like a reversion of the speech that Gildarts gave him about, acknowledging fear and weakness as part of getting stronger, and fear is an evil. It's something, you can use to kind of push yourself forward. That was a really big character moment for him. It showed him, like, with maturity, and really kind of just, like, pushing himself, like, more as a character, which was really nice to see. It always really confused me when that scene is, that was a really big arc, and somehow people don't think that's his character development. I don't know, I guess. Oh, what's up, Shadowhawk? Are you a new sub? Did you just subscribe? Because I should have it turned on to alert new subscribers. It's supposed to... Okay, this must have been earlier today. I have it set up, and that's why I have Streamlabs set up, and I wanted to do that because, like, anytime that someone either subscribes or donates... I don't do Streamlabs. I don't know about Super Chats. It's supposed to, like, have a little pop-up on the screen that says, like, hey, so-and-so subscribed, so-and-so gave you $1.50, because I like the idea of when, somebody either joins up or, is nice enough to donate, they have some form of recognition. I just think it's kind of, like, friendly to do that. I actually really like that, and not kind of like I know there's a lot of, like, I'm gonna have to take a shot at e-thoughts, because they do it just to kind of like, oh, this person's special, I want them to make them feel special, so, they give me more stuff. No, I just think it's polite. I think it's friendly. I mean, I can't be friends with all my subscribers, but I want to at least be at the point where I can be nice to people, I mean, I try and remember as many people that show up in my stream, all the new people and all the returning folk, but at the same time, I want it to be at least to be like, oh yeah, we could have a nice conversation, regardless if I remember you guys or not. We just, chat normal and be friendly. Good stuff, though. Good training arc was the original Rasengan. Oh, I like that arc because, like I said, it's the way you handled it. We got to see, like, a lot of, like, weird training methods. Weird training methods is always fun to see how it goes. Like, look at Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man's training arc was Kishibe literally was just going around and hunting Power and Denji and beating the shit out of him. Like, that was a really cool way to do a training arc. It was a lot more kind of, like, unique to do. Which chapter do you think Kimetsu no Yaiba anime will end on? Oh, I think it'll be... My guess is after the train. Like, the train arc. I don't know what the chapter number is. I'll tell you when it happens, but I'm just going to go with say it's the train arc. I think Dragon Joe is going to kill Kurenai because I doubt Hamaru will have the stomach to do it. Yeah, it's starting to look that way. I was much more towards like her and Valkyrie going out killing each other in like a big battle, and maybe like having kind of like the satellite fall on top of them like during their fight or something. But I don't see that happening now for obvious reasons. But we will see. I mean, Draken Joe will he 100% regardless of like their relationship, given his character, the fact that she is like planning to betray him, and I feel like he's smart enough to know he's probably just gonna straight kill her for that because he doesn't seem he's a businessman. And he doesn't seem to be like somebody that takes bullshit very like lightly. We'll see though. I don't think he's gonna like if he finds out that she's betraying him. I 100% don't think he'd be like, oh, forgive. He's a businessman. We already saw like the hacker spider dude. He used his name like without his permission and shot him in the head. It's because he brought a little bit of dirt to the dude's name, and as a businessman, your name and your word are very important. They're very credible. Spirit Dive Uno versus Griffith. I mean, Griffith can straight manipulate space, so I don't really know what Uno could do. I mean, Uno doesn't have a lot in that category to really fight against. I mean, he's got his sword, but I don't really know what he currently could do against Griffith. But it's kind of hard because we haven't seen Griffith really fight since since getting all his crazy powers. What if I Tenka summon a spawn of I almost lost my spot. Hang on, a spawn of dragons to attack the enemy at full force? I mean, it would really depend on the context. Is Nami really the strongest Straw Hat? She not only beats up the trio, but she speed bits Luffy at the beginning of one. I mean, a lot of what she does is like gag stuff. I mean, there's like I remember in Najima that what was it, Nagi, like the chick that he ends up kind of like one of the I don't remember because he gets one chick as a wife, and then he has because Negi is half siblings with one of the other characters, and I don't know if his mom was ever named, but we do know one of Nagi's wives, and like him just people like were trying to say like her being able to like knock him over by punching him in like a gag feat counted as like being able to say she's like X and Y powerful. It's like no, that was really just because like goofy stuff. Like anytime that Nami's ever punched up Luffy to where he's like I'm all bruised up and stuff, it's like no, that's a silly way to do it. That's not a legit way to do it. I don't fall under that. I mean, gag stuff, no, it's goofy. I remember when King of Lightning complained about Fairy Tail not having enough training arcs. Instead, they got a second origin and old tier. Do you remember? The thing about that is that was all laid out. For one, it wasn't even everybody. It was specifically the main couple characters, and it was so you didn't enter an arc where they were cocky, and because they didn't really know how strong they were, especially in comparison to other characters. Whereas, like, you had Gagio and stuff, and they were fully, like, trying to flex on people. They didn't have any, like, issues with, like, knowing how strong they were. And I thought it was kind of cool to have that aspect laid out. Plus, you could have that for characters in the future. And it was kind of like an in-between portion. Like, it wasn't like, hey, you guys are, you're not strong enough, so I'm just going to give you free power-up. No, it was on purpose to kind of, like, divert expectations and to kind of, like, differentiate what's going on, because if Hiroshima wanted to, he had the 3 months, he could have just made him train and become stronger, I'm just putting that out there. I always thought it was silly to kind of complain about that because of the way that it was kind of presented. I don't know. I already read that one. Promise Neverland, My Hero, Dr. Stone, Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Black Clover, they're all good, just saying. Black Clover and Jujutsu Kaisen, I think, were the best this week by so far. I didn't read Promised Neverland, so I can't really say. My Hero was okay. I mean, we're back to, like, more funny, kind of, like, goofy stuff. But, I mean, I'm not gonna, like, look at that and then compare it to, like, the Black Bulls storming into a courtroom and being like, fuck you guys, we don't care what laws are breaking, we're taking our guys, we're getting out of here, and you can fucking try and stop us. It's like, that was too awesome. That was too hype. I mean, come on. Nozzle's my second favorite captain. Yami's first. Yeah, everyone likes Yami. Yami's just a popular dude. What kind of weapon do you think Wise is making? I think he's going to make some sick-ass cannon. And then make some sick cannon for Pino to use, maybe. Like an EMP cannon. I have a top 10 openings for 2019. I'm going to watch some that include one opening per anime. That's good. I have to look at some stuff. I don't watch a lot of the animes a lot of the time. I read more of the manga. I just like reading manga more than watching anime. A lot of the time. Not all the time. It really just depends on, like, how I feel and, like, what's available,
I'm not sure if you read this comment already, but did you see the second? I thought the Joker movie looks really interesting, and so far the early reviews said it's really good. So I'm looking forward to that. You know, the Black Bulls do look like a bunch of outlaws. Oh yeah, they're a bunch of wackadoos. Wendy Dragon Force or Natsu Dragon Force. I like Natsu. I love the fire horns. Wendy has those cool feathers coming off her, but those fire horns are so damn sick. I can't not love the fire horns. Which funny elite clips do you think is the funniest? Any of that are gonna destroy like those assholes and expose them for the two-faced double standard fuckers that they were. So that's good, and things are just getting worse for them. So Eden Zero space zombies. We need some space zombies. I hope dragons will be introduced in Black Clover, and Leopold will train with a fire dragon. I don't think he'll be a fire dragon, because we already have Dragon on top of Fuegoleon, and he's going to now be like a lion dragon. And Marileon is much more of like a wild, like super savage dragon. We need to have like an addition for him. I would say, looking at it, give him some form of like pretty much a winged creature. Give him like a manticore, because a manticore is literally a lion with eagle wings and a scorpion tail. Like, do that. That would be so much cooler just to give to Leopold. And obviously you got to keep them lion themed. I mean, they're Crimson Lions for a reason, and they're the members of the Crimson Lions that need to stick to a lion theme because they're from the family that runs it. You know, it's got to hold into alignment. Anybody else want to see Noel's dad? I mean, it depends. I mean, he's not that important. Did you watch Castlevania? I did. I'm looking forward to the next season. The guy who's doing it, actually, I guess he wants to do Berserk. I would love to see Berserk in that animation. Finally get a good animation of it. Have you ever watched one of the Kamen Rider series? I have not. I haven't watched a lot of, like, all the Sentai stuff I've seen is in Power Rangers format. I haven't watched the original Sentai stuff. Arnold Castillo. Is it Castillo? I don't know. Do you think Dragon Joe's forces will be as big as Elsie's, given he's one of the six, or Astion 6 Galactica and messed up Gills? Again, I'm very curious. It depends entirely on where she ranks, because maybe that's the Erastion 6 Galactica and she's like one person above them, or maybe she's below them, or maybe she's a member of the Erastion 6 Galactica. That part is very curious because it really, we don't know the kind of comparison between her and these this rank of like certain bad guys really holding on to this. But we will see. That's definitely an aspect that I want to know. It's something we're going to find out later, but eventually the line will be revealed to us as we further on progress. I mean, we're going to find out more of them soon. Like, I don't doubt the Erastion 6 Galactica are all going to be like fought and explored before they leave the cosmos. I don't know. That's just my guess. Deku and Asta versus Shinra and Luffy. I mean, Luffy, power-wise, Luffy's above them, but Asta is fast enough to really dodge anything Luffy sends. But, Luffy's got AoE. I'd probably go Luffy for right now. I don't know why that's kind of like an unfair matchup. You're putting Luffy against them, and he's got so much more to go with right now. And, he's, like, One Piece has been going on for, like, 20-something years, and these other ones are, like, 3 to 5 years old. So, wait, the comments, I meant the series overall. Which one? Is it true King of Lightning works for Viz? I believe he does. I remember seeing an ad where he, like, on Viz's channel that involved him. I'd have to double check. I can't confirm off the top of my head, but you can just look it up. What does iMagic do? I guess it depends, because, like, Fairy Tail has multiple iMagics. Are you just talking about Black Clover? Are you talking about iMagic in general? It really just depends, because you have, like, stuff like, turn to stone, mind control, different abilities. It really depends on how it goes. I love fights on trains and anime. That's because it's going to be fun. The Kimetsu no Yaiba train arc is going to be awesome. I'm guessing that's where the anime is going to end Season 1. I just want to bet that Kunai is defeated and is about to get killed as she begs for Homura's mercy, and she tries to give a fake apology like a coward. I mean, yeah, she seems like a two-faced, like, scum character, of course. So is Zeref technically still the smartest character in Fairy Tail? I mean, if you count dead people, yeah. I mean, Zeref's pretty intelligent. He was a scholar. Like, one of the things, it's not like he was just like, wide range, like, intelligence. He was a scholar. He was like a straight scholar before, everything started. Well, before all the really dark stuff happened. What's up, Jared Punch? How's it going? Do you think spirits can be attracted to knights with affinities that are branches off the basic affinity? Yes, because they're so my guess is the main ones can be used by anybody in that branch, but my
My guess is that anyone in the main branch, or anyone of that category, even the branched off ones, can use a great spirit because they're special. They're the great spirits. Whereas if you said, like, because there's be no point of calling them great spirits if they were the only four. So I'm guessing I'm gonna go with like, but for lesser spirits, like maybe you just have like standard elemental spirits, you would have to get like a specific type. I'm gonna guess. Like if you were, oh, like I can use the earth spirit because my power is steel. It's like, okay, the great earth spirit, of course, branches into earth, or it branches into metals. But if you were like, I can't get a great spirit, but I can get a spirit. It's like, okay, well, you're gonna have to get a metal spirit, and a spirit of metal makes sense. Pull out that guy, get him in there. I think Broku's video on the chance that Luck and Charlotte might be related to each other in their elf form, or brother and sister. I mean, what would you can't really just tie them together because like what was it, Langris and Patry's elf versions were cousins? I don't know. It's kind of like a very wild guess. I don't know if I would really kind of fall in that. It's kind of just like some aspects, like they both have pretty strong magic and their hairs are, I mean, they're not even similar color because Charlotte's is a much, like, more, like, relaxed color, whereas Luck is straight, like, yellow. It's just lightning yellow head. Whose illusions are more devastating, Midnights or Scarecrows from DC? Oh, Scarecrows. Scarecrows is a drug that, like, fucks with your brain entirely, whereas Midnight, he's bending light to create illusions. Obviously, he can still do some stuff with it, but in reality, like, he's just messing with you through your eyes, whereas Scarecrow's is straight drugging you and completely destroying, like, you in so many more aspects. Fushiguro impresses me with every chapter he's in. I really hope he doesn't die. I don't want him to die either. He's really powerful, and it'd be really cool to see, like, where his character goes. So I was actually talking to someone about this, and even though that Geto still is, he's not as powerful as Fushiguro. Clearly, he doesn't have the combat experience, and Fushiguro just seems like way more strategic. But one thing that Geto could pull out that Fushiguro is not going to be able to counter if he does is an area expansion. Because area expansion, in general, increases your stats, but also gives specific kind of like, abilities that you have. But one of the things about area expansions, it's a weakness. It's like, if you use it and the person you're fighting has a superior area expansion, it can, like, override yours. But he doesn't have to worry about that because Fushiguro can't use area expansion because he doesn't have any Jujutsu energy. He doesn't have any cursed energy to use. Elf versus Fairy Tale Demons. Is it all elves? Like, which elf? I mean, the only elf that I could really kind of, like, look at being, like, a bit of a threat, it's like, if you count Licht when he turned into a demon, what would be the full expansive kind of one that you're doing? I don't know. I think Techie 101 stopped doing the Black Bull videos. He's way off schedule. Maybe. I mean, I'm not too sure. I wish he would do Jujutsu Kaisen. I like his Bleach videos. I subscribe to him. I don't watch his One Piece ones. I don't care about... Like, I pretty much just watch his Bleach ones. I like his Bleach videos. Like, he's clearly the most passionate. Out of all the series he does, he's clearly the most passionate about Bleach. And you could tell. And he should do Jujutsu Kaisen because there's so many, like, tying aspects. And the author is literally a Bleach fan. So I don't know why he doesn't end up kind of pulling towards that. I don't know. I would like to see that just because I think it would be also really cool to see a big YouTuber get on the Jujutsu Kaisen hype train. Sorry to blow my nose a little bit. Where was I? Oh, dang it. Thoughts on Big Mom and Kaido's alliance. I don't like that it was off-paneled. I actually am very annoyed that Oda keeps off-paneling stuff. Like, since the time skip, like, any fight that isn't, like, the main event of an arc or, like, really, like, a big fight for Luffy or Zoro, he off-panels it. And Zoro hasn't even had a real fight, like, the entire time skip. He's just completely crushed everyone that he's gone against, aside from Fujitora, who... all that really happened was they clashed blades, and then Zoro got pushed back. I mean, other than that, it's like, there's no real kind of, like, big spectacular parts for outside of that for their characters in this. And then you had, like, he off-paneled the Reverie fight. He still hasn't shown the fight between Akainu and Aokiji, which is never going to get shown. That's why I don't have any hope for, like, the Reverie invasion, Big Mom and Kaido's fight. Like, he's off-paneling this big... It's not like...
oh, a fight, I want to see that. It's like this is a big story, like impacting aspect, because it led up to them now, being an alliance between two Yonkos. It's just crazy, and yet he just off panels it. And I've argued with so many One Piece fans over this, because it's like, why are you okay with this? This is a big thing that happened. Why would you want him to skip over this? This isn't just like, oh, cool, big attack stuff. It's like, no, this is gonna lead to like a big story thing to happen. Anyway, where was I? I skipped over a little bit. Oh, yeah, do you think the Heart Kingdom were the ones who originally invented Mana Zone and Mana Skin? Julius said they were learned natural mana. So I talked about in my last theory video. My guess, because they're gonna have a different one. I don't think it's gonna be like that. I think they're gonna have their own kind of like weird style. And my kind of guess is because they're very nature themed. Just looking at a little bit of what we've been given about them, is that they'll have like a familiar, kind of like how Asta puts, anybody who puts magic on themselves, but instead it's like maybe you put your magic on an animal and you have kind of like Pokemon fights. Or I guess again, like even in that video, I said a more accurate one is like Zatch Bell. You're using your spells through a familiar, like I said, instead of like using them as you go about it. Draken Joe had a giant space station, probably full of people who worked for him. It was like a bunch of banks and like casinos and shit. Like he had a bunch of loan places to, get people into that profit circle of his. Would Natsu get the same treatment as Asta, like given his origins? I mean, if they knew. But does Natsu really give a fuck? He'll fight anybody in the Clover Kingdom. They're not gonna stop him. But what is the next Demon Moon villain? In Kimetsu? Yeah, wait. When is the next Demon Moon? Train arc. I won't go too much into it, but train. Wait for the train. Johnny Young Bosch is best voice actor. I really like Dan Green. I think Dan Green is probably my favorite dubbed voice actor. But Johnny Young Bosch is definitely up there. I would definitely put Johnny Young Bosch as one of my favorites, but Dan Green is probably my overall favorite. He just got range. Like, just that gap between Yugi and Atem was great. How much would the Demon Dweller sword suck away from Actologia? I don't even think it would work. The dragon magic is different than normal magic. I think it wouldn't really affect him. I think it would be too below pretty much his whole being. Just kind of a guess. Rax, you know that Tetsu from My Hero Academia people say was inspired from Godshield given his quirk, and he said it the same, and he has the same dub voice actor. I mean, I don't know. Considering it's superhero stuff, and I don't know the full extent of Horikoshi's fandoms. I mean, if you showed that he was a fan of Fairy Tail, then you could probably lean a little bit towards him. My guess is more of like Colossus, because I'm guessing he's a fan of the X-Men, given, he's a big superhero guy. Just as my guess towards everything. Nothing else besides that. Do you like Dan Green's Knuckles? Oh yeah, he plays Knuckles, doesn't he? I forgot about that. I mean, yeah, it's Dan Green. I love Dan Green's voice. Could Actologia eat anti-magic? Oh, he couldn't eat anti-magic, but he'd just swat him. He'd just break the sword and break Asta. How strong do you think Deliora is compared to the 9 Demon Gates? I mean, we had... The only thing we can really kind of go at with Deliora is we know was Wizard Saint level. She was at level with the Wizard Saint. And the dragon, or the Demon Gates were already seemingly... They weren't around Laxus, and Laxus was at least, around number 5. For the most... I think that Deliora could have contended with most of them. The only ones that I think would say are above were, like, Kyoka and Marked Gear. Those are the only ones. And then if you count Silver, I'd go Silver. But obviously Silver's kind of rough because he's not a demon, but he is part of the Demon Gates by title. Oh yeah, Urahara's voice actor died. That was sad. That was a real bummer because of how much Kisuke is one of my favorite people in Bleach. And I'm wondering how much, like, if Satoru has any inspiration from him. What's your most embarrassing moment that you'd like to admit? I used to be a brony. Oh, that's really embarrassing. I have to think off the top of my head. Just because I haven't thought about anything like that in a long time. I don't know. I'll tell you when I can remember. We'll save that for a different day. Like, there's definitely stuff that I would be willing to say, but I don't really know right now. I don't really have anything, like, prepared. Because then I have to think over a lot of events of my life and be like, alright, this sucked. But what about this thing? Oh, I don't want to share that, blah, blah. The new My Hero Academia chapter 10 for Mount Lady, it was okay. Rex, do you live in a pineapple under the sea? Oh, I wouldn't want to live under the sea. Maybe a pineapple in a tree. Maybe in a tree. Yeah, Dan Green's Knuckles, I read that. Would you rather be friends with Shiki or Natsu? Personally, I'd probably rather be friends with Shiki because you upset Shiki and he's not going to try and fight you like Natsu. Natsu's going to fight everybody. My Natsu figure, I'm thinking about just going off of YouTube money. I think I'm about $230 or so. I'm going to start formulating a plan of like taking little bits of not just YouTube, because I'm going to take, my plan is, there's a couple things I want to circulate it, because I assume most people have change jars. Like anytime I get like change, I usually put it in my change jar. Anything in that, when I eventually go and take it back to return it for cash, that'll go towards it. YouTube money, all YouTube donations and earnings will go towards it. You know, maybe I have some Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I'm trying to sell. Like there are some ones, like some decent value ones from like I just got a Boral sword. Like I got one of the 20th anniversary boxes, like that gold tin sarcophagus, and I got a Boral sword, which is like a $30 card I gotta sell before it loses value. And so all stuff like that I'm gonna end up putting towards proceeds of the Natsu figure, which will happen one day. I actually think a member of Asta's real family coming to Clover Kingdom after the news of Asta being the devil in the newspaper, like Asta are in the Spade Kingdom. That would be interesting. The thing about that, but I think that would be a really cool thing to kind of like play upon of like the newspaper, but it's like, why would a newspaper for the Clover Kingdom end up in the Spade Kingdom? But I really don't want Asta to end up as like, I don't want his background to have anything special. I don't want him to have some member of his family of like a special origin, or to have some like big hype. Oh, he's of a blank family, blank bloodline, whatever. I don't want that to happen. I would prefer it if, oh my god, what the hell? What's that Mr. Bro, I was just looking on Twitter, that Mr. Bro guy got a retweet from Mr. Beast, and now, like, this was yesterday, and now he was at like 300,000, and now he's at 1 million. And then 12 hours ago, he getting to 1 million, and now he's got almost 1.3 million. What the hell? I'm just gonna post. I know it won't happen, but I'm just posting. Be like, Mr. Beast, please retweet me. I don't think it'll happen, but I would like to. I just want to put in the effort. I think it'd be a little bit funny. Maybe that'll be my my luck thing. Is I get a random, like, hey, could you do this? Haha. And he says, fuck it, okay. And then I get like a retweet, and then I wake up tomorrow with like 80,000 subs or something absurd. I don't know. But anyway, that would be pretty crazy. Yeah, the Natsu figurine is coming close. Yuno versus Bakugo. I like Yuno better. Bakugo is cool. I like his powers. I like his costume. I like his whole personality. I don't like that he doesn't fit into like a lot of the happier personas of the My Hero Academia main cast. But he's so mad for no reason. Like there's nothing about him that he really needs to be pissed off about. He doesn't have like a hard life. He doesn't have like a dark backstory. Like people aren't really mean to him. He's actually mean to people, but I don't know. I don't really know what he is. Like, Yuno comes from a much worse off point, and then he's a pretty chill dude. He's very level-headed. I don't know. You know what? I never retweeted out the stream. Let me retweet out the stream really quick. I just noticed I never did that, and we're like an hour and a half in, and yet, I mean, I don't know how many people are gonna show up if I retweet it and post some links, but we can try. Let me post a couple links. You guys ask a couple more questions. I'll get some stuff laid out, and then hopefully there can be some more things to talk about when we come back to everything over here. So just give me a couple seconds. I'm just posting it in a couple Discord servers. I never really post in, but hey, they gave me the ability to advertise, so I'm gonna take what I can. 1 second. Ask comments. Like, subscribe, thumbs up the stream, and all that jazz. And I just gotta post it on the tweeter. I gotta post it on the old tweeter.
And then back to the oh god, I just actually full screened my stupid Streamlabs. Get in there, Streamlabs. Quit ruining things for me. Oh my god. Come on. There we go. So okay, let me post it on the Twitter. We post it on Twitter and see how things let me see how things go. One second. I gotta put some hashtags in there. There we go. So there's that. Alright, I was gonna do one more thing. I'm trying to remember before I fail. Hold on. What was I gonna do? Oh god. Okay, here we go. I was gonna comment on this post. There we go. One second. Damn it. I'm trying really hard to finish this one. I'm just trying to do one last post. There we go. Okay, back to the stream itself. Where was I? Let's see. Alright, I got some stuff. Goku's washing Saitama. Saitama is not strong. Yo, Rex, I gotta go to sleep. Work tomorrow, Godspeed. Well, I hope you have a good night, dude. Hope you have a good night. Would you rather have a demon form or an elf form? I mean, demon form would probably be cooler. Austin, Saitama versus Goku and Deku. What? Saitama just kills it, or Goku just kills everyone, rather. If Laxus and Orga continue their fight without interruption, Laxus, I mean, yeah, Laxus would have bodied him. He would probably eventually, because he didn't seem to be taking things very seriously. I think the second he really took things seriously, he would have just kind of like smacked the shit out of Orga. I think he was more of just kind of testing him, and then when the time comes, it was time to really get crazy. Oh, hell. I should use this picture. I'm just looking at stuff. Look at this thick Chainsaw Man picture I found. I mean, I'm not going to post it here. I'll retweet it. I'll retweet it on the Twitter, and you guys can see it. Good stuff, good stuff. Let me move this over here. I'm trying really hard to formulate and situate all of my damn windows. I might need a fourth screen. Anyway. But yeah. Stuff to talk about. Let me fix my window again. I don't know why I keep minimizing shit without realizing it. Manga is better. Manga is usually better. Julius versus All Might. That's not a fight. I mean, Julius would straight maul him to death. I guess really not to death. He'd really just turn him to dust. Guts versus Dracula from Castlevania. Guts. Guts for sure. I mean, Guts would just completely just maul the hell out of him. If Urzu's Nakagami armor during Dirt in the Grand Magic Games, would she have beaten him or no? I don't think so. I don't think she could have beaten Jura at the time. I mean, she definitely can now. I don't think her at the time really... Jura, like, fell off, because Jura wasn't just like, oh, I'm not as strong as one of the Spriggan 12. Like, him and 3 other members of the Wizard Saints that were, you know, members of the Gods of Ishgal, and yet they couldn't even, like... They couldn't even budge God Serena. Like, that wasn't even, like, an effort on his part. He just straight... folded them up and like dealt with them like nothing. Like, that was wild. I still think that was... I really wish God Serena didn't get... Like, they shouldn't have off-paneled that fight. That one I'm actually a little bit salty about from Hiroshima, because it's like, it clearly was supposed to get you kind of like hyped up and surprised, but I feel like it would have been more surprising if he at least got a little bit more of a fight, and to then act no good shut up and just mauled him, you know. Tanjiro versus Deku. I kind of want to go with Tanjiro, because I feel like if Deku's got more, like, straight attack power, but Tanjiro's got way more technique. He's got way more technique, he's got all that instinct. I feel like he would have the ability to really kind of, like, move around a lot of what he was doing more, and the fact that between the two of them, the Deku would go much more for just, like, straight punches, where with Tanjiro, he goes for kills. Like he specializes in cutting things heads off, cutting the heads off demons. I mean, if you take into account obviously like, oh, he's not gonna kill a human for entertainment of people just wanting to know. If you just put him in like, oh, here's their stats and capabilities, fight. It really just kind of comes down to, I think, that kind of moment, like, which one is going to kill each other? Like, Tanjiro's going to actually go for a kill. Deku, I don't think he would go for a kill. I mean, he's eventually, no, because I don't think he's going to kill. I think he's not going to be a dude that does that. I don't think he's killed anybody or plans to. It doesn't seem like it would really fit well into his character to kill people, rather. I don't know. I mean, maybe he has like some moment where he kills somebody, and that's gonna be like a big character thing for him, maybe a big move point. Inosuke versus Bakugo. I mean, Bakugo would win, but Inosuke I like way more. Inosuke I think is a better character. What do you think Yuno is doing? So I went over that a little bit. My theory is that Yuno is going to stay behind and try and pretty much like fix the Clover Kingdom by climbing the ranks and kind of taking over. Doing it more from the inside, where maybe the Black Bulls will come back and try and fix it with influence way later. I don't know. I have a guess. I can't say like what I know based off of X amounts of information, because we don't even know where he's at right now. We don't even know what he's doing. We don't know what's going on with a lot of the characters after the whole debacle of the elf resurrection. With Tanjiro versus Deku. I mean, Deku definitely has the power to take him out for sure with like his attacks, but Tanjiro has so much more kind of like combat skill, but also his just like combat instinct and having a much more experience like killing his opponent, like going for the kill right off the bat if he can. I'm not sure if Jura or the others can beat any of the Spriggan or even Nine Art. No, I doubt he could beat any of the Spriggan. Who wins drink off? Nami, Kana, or Vanessa? Oh, Kana. So if you go back to the scene right after Pandemonium when they're doing the magical power finder, right? You go back and look at that scene, and the whole thing, right before Kana goes up there, she shows that she'd been drinking, and she drank, and the time period, assuming of Urza being, doing the Pandemonium stuff, she drank, I think it was like 18 or 19 full barrels of ale, like, that is multiple times more than she weighs. And so she just downed all that in such a short amount of time. Nami obviously can drink. Vanessa can drink. But Kana can outdrink anybody in One Piece by a lot. So, and there's no like big crazy drinkers in Black Clover yet. I mean, obviously Vanessa drinks, but she's not at a point where like she does superhuman levels of alcohol. Luck or Shoto? Oh, Luck would absolutely body the living shit out of him. Kana can drink like the level that she took in that scene like of alcohol was absurd. Like she outdid a lot of characters in terms of straight alcohol intake. Like ridiculous stuff. She's a rough one. She's definitely a rough one though. I would love to see. I actually am very curious to know what her influence is going to be, if any, in the current story, because she has the potential to go further. Because we know with the Moon Dragon goddess Selene, obviously we don't know if Kana's going to be relevant, but we know that she could be relevant, because with Fairy Glitter, the way Fairy Glitter works is by using the star and the sun and the moon to absorb magic from them to put it into the wielder and harness it, and that seems to be about the description for how the Moon Dragon god works, and how Moon Dragon magic in general will work. So I'm wondering if she could tie into, work in that. Because one of the things I did mention is, out of the whole cast, out of the whole Fairy Tail Guild, the one character I think that is very susceptible to a death flag is Gildarts. Because Gildarts, we've already really kind of like laid out a lot about his character. The only thing we really haven't got from him is his backstory. We already got a lot from him, his display. We know where he's about power-wise. We know what he can do. And another character, obviously, you could kill off his Makarov, but, like, I mean, what would be the point of Makarov? Makarov at this point is, like, his thing is the fact that he always seems like he's going to die, but he doesn't. Gildarts, I think, could die and still have a lot of impact. If Makarov died again, I think people would just be like, okay, how's he going to come back from this? What is Makarov going to do to be Makarov this time and not die, and not really die? Whereas Gildarts, you can kill him off and still have a lot of impact on the series and what's going on with other characters.
And on top of that, you could do something with Kana, and Kana could have like a really good character moment from all this, and the way that her character could be pushed forward, maybe be relevant in the current story. One of the because like Kana was hyped up. Kana was hyped up by Mavis, talking about her latent potential, and obviously with Fairy Glitter, she can harness a legendary class spell. So it's not like she's just like, oh yeah, we like her, I wish she did stuff. It's like, no, she should do stuff. There's stuff about her that was laid out that says like, hey, you should be stronger. You should maybe not be like, you don't have to be main cast, but it's like you should have at least some like big spectacle part of the series to, kind of add on to your characters. Even Elfman got stuff, but like Kana doesn't really have much like going on for her. I mean, she had a really good backstory with like, how she tied into guild arts, but that's relatively it. Can Asta's anti-magic block Zerf's death magic? I doubt it. It's a weird kind of half curse, half magic, and it's like a god's magic, so it can't... Because otherwise it'd be like, well, can Yuka's surge magic cancel out Zeref's? It's like, I doubt it. The only thing that seemed to block it was dragon scales, and dragons are weird in Fairy Tail in the fact that they can kind of like alter certain abilities, and they're even like noticed to be, different during like Edelus. And even when Face was going off, any of the natural dragons weren't really affected by it. You still saw some of them using their dragon abilities like roars and stuff. I don't know. There's kind of like an always like not too sure. I would go with no, just kind of like looking at it and be like, because it's not the same Fairy Tail's anti-magic and Black Clover's anti-magic, but it's still anti-magic, and you still can kind of look at the concept behind it, and obviously it doesn't work the same as going against him. I mean, it's like, well, if it worked, then why the living hell isn't? Why didn't they do that with Zeref way earlier? I just doubt it. Oh my guys, that's what I'm going with right now. I'm just distracted because I was looking at this funny GIF. But who would be the next king of the Clover Kingdom? Fuego Leon is my call. Fuego Leon, I think, will be the next Wizard King. Unless you mean King, which, up to kind of depending on a couple variables. But in terms of Wizard King, I'm going with Fuego Leon. Favorite Black Clover opening this year? Oh, 7. I really like number 7. 7 is... The only one I like more than number 7 is number 3. I really like number 3. Number 3 is my favorite one at the moment. Noelle versus Mimosa, who's best girl. I like Noelle more than Mimosa. I do like Mimosa, but I really like Noelle. I think she's a much better character. I like her design too. Something about Noelle having that silver hair and that kind of like light purple eyes. I think visually they just look really pretty. Mimosa's best girl in Black Clover. I don't know, man. How do you rank the Black Bulls from strongest to weakest? I mean, the strongest is obviously Yami. Asta in his black form is easily number 2, though. I mean, I have to look at some stuff because I'm curious to know about like Lux's full capabilities, because since he has kind of like a partial upgraded version of his, his full lightning clad. I mean, Magna is definitely one of the lower ones, but he's not power based. He's kind of like combinational based, the way that he's able to take all his different kinds of fireballs and kind of like tie them together amongst strategies, because that was the thing that we showed like when we saw him go against Lufalu. It's like, okay, yeah, Lufalu's way stronger, he's faster, but the Magna isn't a fast, strong character. He's entirely like, oh, I don't have a lot of magic, but I can, I gotta comment on something. But, the fact that he's able to keep up with him because the weird ways he's able to formulate, like, combos with his fireballs is what makes him really strong. It's a little bit hard. I mean, if you looked at him, really, I would say the weakest is Gray, because Ray is the only one that doesn't have, like, any combat stuff. She is raw support. She's just straight support. Finral, you could still do stuff. Finral, you could actually do a lot with his teleporting, like, if you wanted to. He could just straight teleport you, like... Oh, cause it's like marked location and areas he could see. He could literally just look up and teleport you like 1,000 feet in the air and drop you if he really wanted to. Obviously, it's not who Finral is, but it's still possible. What's your opinion on people saying Black Clover's Fairy Tail done right? I doubt they understand Fairy Tail or even can say anything. A lot of people, from what I've noticed, when they talk bad about Fairy Tail, they're going off of like YouTubers' opinions and stuff other people have told them. Because then you ask them questions. They're talking to one guy right now on Twitter who was like saying how like The Grand Magic Games was like, oh, it's mid, which the whole mid thing is getting really annoying. But it's like, okay, what about it is mid? They don't have an answer. There's nothing they really have to say. It's really just, hey, let me say something insulting, but I don't really have anything beyond like, beyond the insult. I don't have any context or reason why I can back up my claim. And it's like, dude, just shut the fuck up. If you said, I don't like Fairy Tail for these reasons, and it's like, I can understand, but really, hang on a second. God damn it, I keep distracted. I keep getting, getting, there's one person that I follow that follows me back, and she's upset that someone said that, like, One Piece was like, One Piece greatest anime ever, and I was like, no thank you. Gross. But anyway, God, I got completely sidetracked. Oh yeah, that's the thing about a lot of people when they hate, because if you gave me a reason, like, I don't like the setting, I'm not a huge fan of magic, these are the reasons I don't like these characters, and it's like, I can see you at least understood aspects, but it's okay if you don't like it. If you give me a logical reason why you don't like something, then whatever. But if the reason you don't like something you give, and it's not even remotely close to what happened, or remotely close to really making sense, it's like, well, no, that's retarded. You're literally just going off of either headcanon or what someone else told you and deciding that's what your opinion is based off of. Like, how many times I've talked to people and they'll be like, oh, Lightning Flame Dragon mode was an asshole because they, we got that and they beat Hades with it. It's like, no, they did not beat Hades with it. It actually kind of just made Hades get more serious and more deadly. So you can't really call it an asshole if it wasn't what turned the fight around. And unless it, hang on, oh my god. People keep commenting. This happens when I'm at work too. Suddenly, like, all the conversations I get into on Twitter become active. Anyway. Okay, back to it. But yeah, a lot of it is just based off of, like, people making kind of, like, headcanons and going off other people's opinions, which is stupid. Noelle for the win. She goes 100%. Must be most broken character at the end of the series. I don't know what broken. She doesn't have any broken powers, at least yet. You might have said it already, but what are your thoughts? What is your prediction on the next chapter? I really want to see Gray with a partial demon form so bad. I just want to see... Oh, I don't need, like, to the extent of, like, Natsu was in Dragoncry. I just want a horn. I just want, like, a cool coiled horn with, like, icicles on it or something. Please. Please, I don't need any wings. I don't need any claws. I just want the horn. That's all I want for Gray. That's all I require. Please. But that layout, obviously, display with Gray. I'm hoping to see who Wendy's fighting, because I've been on the theory that Wendy's going to fight Laxus for, like, 2 or 3 chapters now. And I want to see Natsu be like, alright, I'm going to finish this and either go into Fire Dragon King mode or... someone's honking. It's horns outside or something. But either, a power-up. Either Fire Dragon King mode or Dragon Force, thinking it's going to be the end of... I'm going to shut my window one second. I think someone's doing yard work or something. I'm going to shut the window, cat. And remove bro. I'm going to turn my fan off, too, because I worry about it falling over. 1 second. I'm going to put it on the floor. I don't want it to fall over and be too loud. But the whole thing right now with that is I would like to see Natsu like, oh, I'm going to do Fire Dragon King mode or Dragon Force because I want to end this fight with Gajeel and, continue on. And then Gajeel busts out his own version, whether it's Dragon Force or Fire Dragon King or Drift. It would be Iron Dragon King mode, or, maybe a different name instead of King. Like I've said, maybe like Tyrant or something badass. Something like that. Like, I those are the 3 things I really want to see. I want to see a progressed form of Gray in his demon powers. I actually really would wondering if he would name it, because it really would just be the Demon Slayer version of Dragon Force. I mean, he could straight call it Demon Force, and I'd be fine with it. But maybe, like, Gray invents the name because maybe he's the first one to really, like, go that far with Demon Slaying. Because we don't know a lot about Demon Slaying's origins. Same thing, we don't really know a lot about God Slaying origins. Maybe we had... I don't think there was ever a notice of, like, it existing before Silver. I don't know. I mean, it would make sense. But, Gray could name it. Perfectly fine with that. That'd be pretty sick.
But that's pretty much what I'm going with right now. That's all right, Captain Merkel. I'm going to do another video after this. I'm going to go for a little bit longer with this stream because we actually have some pretty good turnout. We got like 26, 27 people showing up, and I don't have to work tomorrow. Tomorrow's Labor Day, so I can chat a little bit longer than last week, so we can have a little bit nicer of a conversation. I'll probably go for like another hour. The only thing that I'm really trying to accomplish otherwise, I want to start my fairy tale reread today. I missed a plot point while talking to someone the other day, and I was like, God damn it, I'm rusty on some of the areas. I need to reread it. Plus, I want to get more. I want to watch the 2 anime arcs again because I want to get some of those because there's some parts in those arcs that I don't have as down as like the manga because like the anime, I don't watch the anime nearly as much as I watch the manga read the manga, but I would like to, go through them again, just kind of refresh them in my mind, probably watch Dragon Cry again, and just kind of, get all that information back in my head, get it all refreshed and nude. So I'm hoping to start that again tonight, but I also want to, like I said, trying to catch up on Radiant, and then something Witch Hat, hard to pronounce third word that my friend really has been wanting me to read. I got a couple of chapters of those, I could finally catch up with there. So hopefully that. I got up, so now my cats woke up, so they're both walking around. I was actually talking because I'm currently looking to buy a house, and I went to some dude's house today, and he had he still lives there, but he wasn't home, so maybe my realtor went in, and this dude's cat was huge. Like this was I guess not like huge. This is a fat, fluffy cat, and what was funny is I was laughing because this cat had a 3-foot area that it would kind of just walk around in and roll around in, and then the second, because this guy had an automatic cat feeder, and when it went off, I don't know if it was a recording of him or set up in the machine. I'm gonna look into it because I kind of want to get one, and it would pretty much call the cat over, and it was the only time I saw that cat move out of that area is when it got food automatically kind of dispensed out of this automatic cat feeder, and the cat just kind of ran over and you just saw this tubby dude just make break for it to get something to eat. I was making a joke, and then I realized I was serious. If the dude said, "Hey, I'll pay, I'll take X amount of money off of the house if you take this cat with you," I'd be like, "God damn it, give me that cat." It was a really first time I met that cat, he was very friendly. I just thought that was a funny thing to share a story with because I was one of the moments of my day that I really enjoyed was just meeting this super fat cat. Hold on a second. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm arguing with one of those people on Twitter. He's talking about he didn't like the Grand Magic games and stuff, and hang on. One second. I can't not reply to this dude. It's impossible. Okay, hopefully this dude gives me 5 or so minutes before he replies. Cause there's no way I would be able to not reply and continue to stream. I would just be thinking about it the whole time. But yeah, I wanted to share that funny cat story. And we'll go a little longer with this stream than usual. Grand Magic Games is my favorite part of the Fairy Tail anime. I thought it was really good. My favorite arc is Tartaros, and then I really like the current arc. I really like the 100 Years quest. I guess it really depends, because I wouldn't call this the 100 Years quest. It's more like a saga. Because otherwise it's okay. You could count it would be the water dragon kind of thing, but they're all kind of umbrellaed under the. This dude, I wanted him to wait longer to reply. Anyway, oh no, I'm busy. Goddamn cat. Listen, fella, I'm doing stuff. One of my cats really likes to sleep under my couch. He comes out randomly like a groundhog when he's ready for things to go down. Yeah, let me get back to some of these comments. Don't make Kimetsu no Yaiba overrated. I really like Kimetsu no Yaiba. I think it's good. Yeah, Grand Magic Games is awesome. When I say awesome animation, I'll come like Hisoka, not taking that back. Oh, gross. I'm not a huge fan of Hisoka. I like Crollo. I thought Crollo was cooler. Do you think more people support Black Bulls, for example, other Knights or Marileona? I mean, there'll probably be a couple characters. Again, Marileona is probably the only ones that will really kind of happen. Fuego Leon, I'm very curious about. Nozel, I'm curious about. I just want to see how this all goes down. Because the thing about it is, like, Augustus is already king, and he's already kind of like not the best guy. And once now, on top of it, we have Damnatio, who not only is Akira, but he's also he's also pretty much present as the judicial and legislative branches of the Clover Kingdom. He's already got more power than all those characters. Like it's gonna be too much for him to really kind of contend against. That's, like I said, I'm curious to know where this is going to go. I don't think they're just going to brush this under the rug. I think there's going to be a lot of like drawback from everything. And it would be kind of pointless to introduce Damnatio and all this and then have it just be like, oh, we're going to forget that all this happened. We're going to just kind of like lay it all over. Because Damnatio is clearly not a good guy. He's clearly laid out as a bad guy. So, I mean, it's not going to be something where it's just like, oh, we're going to... Because then what's the point of it? What's Damnatio's character going to be if they just kind of like... Oh yeah, we're gonna override like his laws and whatnot. And he's not a throwaway character. Like he's interesting. He's got cool magic. He's got kind of a dark backstory at least so far. Like he apparently judged his own father, in all this. Like pretty cool dude. And in terms of a character, let's see, who do you think was more wise, Makarov or August? Makarov I think would be more wise. Because August doesn't have as many life experience. We don't know a lot about Makarov's like growing up and kind of like aspects about him. We really only know about his loyalty towards Zareth, but I really like that about him. I really like a lot of the Spriggan 12, the way that they kind of complimented Zareth. Because when you look at Zareth, a lot of the characters in the series we know from Ishgal, we know about Zareth's side, this kind of like the way that they saw him. And from Ishgal's side, he was like this kind of like pretty much death mage, creating demons, havoc, chaos, and all these bad things throughout history. Whereas in Alvarez, he was pretty much this heroic figure. They're the creator of their empire, their greatest, champion. All these things about him that just kind of like put him up in this high pedestal. And all the members of the Alvarez really just had respect for him. Like one of the things, like Brandish is very lazy. Like she's easily like goes against her duties and whatnot. But when it came to straight, directly under Zareth like aspects, she put her own wants, needs, and personality aside and really just did what she could for Zareth and the Empire, which I thought was really cool. And I liked about August. August, obviously, it made so much sense when you found out about like Larcade and August's origins, and it made sense of why August would hate Larcade, because Larcade, as a member of the Aetherius demons, his end goal is to help Zareth die, help him get his kind of like whatever his plan is, and it's still engraved into their DNA. I mean, it's still kind of weird. Because Larcade was a little bit different because he was, probably built more towards like the Natsu versions. That's why he probably looks so human. I'm wondering why he didn't get an Aetherius form. I wish he did. He should have busted that out. I mean, maybe his was different again because he was supposed to be more human. I don't know. He has a character, like there were some mysteries to him, but sadly we'll never see him again. One thing I would like to see, I would really like to see a character like show up trying to maybe like recreate demons from the Book of Zareth, maybe like based off of information they knew on them. Maybe we find out more about like straight how to create an Aetherius demon. Yeah, there's definitely some potential there. Zareth still gonna have a lot of followers around. I don't think like his entire like cult following, because he wasn't just like, oh, I'm a bad guy and I've got crews behind me. He was an entire empire. And on top of that entire empire, he had religions that focused on him. So you probably still got religious sects out there just kind of like wanting to do stuff for Zareth. And even if they're dead, there are probably going to be some characters that want to carry on his will. Black Bulls are coming for you. Of course, they're crazy. It's painful having to wait for Kimetsu no Yaiba anime to end so I can read the manga. I mean, you could just read the manga and still enjoy the anime. How far do you think Noel will be by the end of the series? I mean, I'm definitely Wizard King. I assume that all the characters are going to be kind of like in that area of Wizard King. But I guess we don't know the full extent of where characters like are going to be power-wise, so we can't really go at it. I mean, she's going to be at least as powerful as her mother, which, is in that area between Captain and Wizard King. I love to see characters if they were... I always love to see characters if they were OP.
not too OP. It really depends on the situation of which character, really, though. That's the... Oh, I already read that one. Probably Julie's level. Oh, Julius? I mean, I don't know about Julius. I think definitely stronger than her mom, though. Gold Experience, Requiem versus Goku. I don't know a lot about JoJo. I can't really say. Sorry, dude. You told her to predict your Fairy Tail, I guess. Oh, on Black Clover. Sorry. I think they're going to leave. I think they're going to turn on the country. I think they're going to have to exit out. And there's 3 options for where I think they're going to go. They're going to go to the Diamond Kingdom because the Diamond Kingdom plotline is already set up. We know stuff about Mars. We know that there's stuff, not only characters already established over there, but there's already a storyline established over there. The Heart Kingdom is neutral, so going there would be a very safe option. And you could also pull up something crazy and have them go to the Land of the Sun where Yami's from. Though I'm curious to know if you would know where, like, the direction towards that. That might just be something for way later on, but it is an option. I think it's probably the least likely option out of those 3, but still, something present. We will see, though. Top 5 strongest Fairy Tail characters. I mean, really, you can just kind of look at, like, the main cast and throw, like, Laxus and Gildarts in there. There you go. Not to with Dragon Force, I still think it's the strongest. And then, obviously, anything beyond Dragon Force is going to guarantee him a spot. I bet it's the size of Garfield. Wait, what? Giorno has the same voice actor as Larkade. Oh, that's pretty cool. I just realized Acnologius basically snapped the Dragon Slayers from Fiore. Wait, basically snapped. Oh, yeah, he steals them out. He pulls them out of there. Yeah, that was pretty cool, though, his weird dimensional time fuckery. Do you think more people will support Black Bulls, for example? Oh, I read that. Yeah, I think they're gonna... some of them I'm curious. Nozel, I'm curious about the most because he seems very duty-bound, and it wouldn't surprise me if he just kind of, like, tries to stay out of it because he can't really decide between them because it's like what's right and what's for the job. Although tsundere cats are... My cat is super tsundere. She's a really nice cat, though. What do you think about people who are too objective when it comes to anime and manga? I think it ruins the experience. I mean, can you give me an example of what you mean by that? Asta getting kick Vic treatment. Oh, no. Asta is getting scapegoated. Like, we need someone to blame. Let's put him up there to get guillotined. This dude in Twitter must give you a hard time or something. Learn him, trigger him back. I'm trying to talk to him. I'm going to try and have, like, a nice conversation. Because I try to be friendly with people before I get into, like, talk shit kind of thing. I'd rather be friendly than anything, but I'm not above being a dick. I guess it really just depends on what exactly they say. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I mean, he was trying to tell me, like, I don't know if you saw the last comment, and he was like, oh man, arguing with Fairy Tail stands. So, like, SMH. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to talk to you, like, normally. And, like, can you just give me some examples? I'm being polite. Oh my god, I'm clicking the daylight and daytime modes for Streamlabs are weird looking. But, as is. Would Zerf want knowledge of anti-magic? Well, I don't think his anti-magic would work, because there's already types of anti-magic in Fairy Tail, but it's not really the same. I mean, really, Natsu's fire is pretty much like anti-magic fire, because it just burns magic, and it can burn magic internally, it can burn, like, marks, it seemingly can burn other abilities, like, inside people, too, like the powers themselves. So it's not like it's impossible for, for that idea of, because we've already been there. I mean, really, the demon particles are pretty much just anti-magic as hell, because it's like a disease that spreads specifically to ether nano, so it would target magic pretty much, and it doesn't to the extent of Zeref's curse, so clearly it wouldn't really work at that full, like, portion. How would Asta and Zeref react to each other? I mean, he'd probably be kind of weirded out, and then Asta would probably die by the curse of Ank'Saram. Madara versus Acnologia for sure. Acnologia by a long shot. That's not really that comparable. Like, Acnologia is ridiculous. Like, it took so many variables, even while drastically weakened by, motion sickness, to kill the dude. I think it was VA for Urahara. That was real sad. I don't know why, but I just like Nazo more than Fuego Leon. He's got a really cool magic. Man, that Silver Star of Execution was so sick. I mean, Fuego Leon has some cool spells, but Nozzle's magic is much more interesting to look at. But I'm wondering how it's gonna go once Fuego Leon, like, gets, like, Spirit Dive. Imagine that. Yuma, Yuya, or Yusaku is the main character. I kind of like Yuya more, but if you count each of the series, I like Vrains more than Arc 5 and Zexel. And I think a lot of that, though, is just from... I love Soulburner's character. Dude's so awesome. How do you think Gosh is going to react when Asta and Lil Mary... so what's funny
is he entered that he entered the building. He entered the building saying that like if Asta died, that he thinks that Mary would be mad at him. I don't think he knows what just happened. So that's one thing I think is gonna have to happen in the next chapter. Is Gosh is gonna have to see Mary, like the fact that she was almost executed, and he's just gonna lose his damn mind. It wouldn't make sense not to have that part of the chapter happen. It doesn't need to be the full chapter, but it needs to be a wild aspect to really just drive up what's going on between them. And I think that escalation is really gonna hype it up. Favorite Game of Thrones character? I really liked Brienne. That's why I really didn't like the. So the thing is, with those last episodes, a lot of people really didn't like them. Obviously, if they just didn't ruin the whole plot line for Brienne and Jaime, I would have been perfectly fine with the ending of Game of Thrones, because they were the characters. They were two of my favorites, and I really liked how their story was going. And then it just kind of dropped. And it was like, I don't care to see Cersei get like a nice moment the way she dies. I don't like her. I really wanted her to get a shitty death. I didn't think that she deserved to have that dying moment with Jaime. And I really didn't like the fact that that now Brienne was kind of just like left alone, and we don't know if she ever found someone again. I really didn't like that. That was the part that really bugged me about the ending of the series. And I can't rewatch the show. I mean, like, I would like to rewatch it for some of the earlier seasons, but then it's like, well, what am I going to stop at, like, season 5 or 6 and then just not watch anymore? No. It would be dumb just to watch all that and be like, well, I guess I'm going to pull out now. It's like, why would I do a rewatch and not finish it? But I don't want to do a rewatch because I don't want to do those last couple episodes because they were bad. And they made me really annoyed that it was like, you wasted all this for, like, disappointment on disappointment for so many characters. Hellfire, Bluefire, Goldfire. I don't know. I kind of like the Hellfire. It usually has like a cooler aspect to it, darker. Has like usually has like a vicious kind of like story and like aspect behind it. The name itself is Badass Silver Star. Yeah, that was a really sick one. I just thought the design was cool. I want to know what Nozzle's upgrades and stuff will be. What his like new spells that he'll gain. What like bonuses he'll get. What he's going to do to cover the gaps and, get stronger as a character. Is he going to get some power-up type? I don't know. Hashtag whereas I mean, yeah. We got to find that out, too. We need another Witch Queen or arc in Black Clover. I don't know about a whole arc. But I would like to see what she's doing. I know Jump Force sucks, but how about being the character stop Light from becoming a Xeno-like being? How would the character stop? Is that what's happening? I didn't pay attention to the story mode. Did Light go and become like a god or something? Gotcha's gonna kill some bitches. Yeah, I think he's gonna lose his damn mind. I heard a theory where Charlotte is Luck's sister. I don't remember who said it. I've seen that too. I don't really know how I feel about that. I feel like it'd be kind of pointless. I don't know what you'd really get out of that. Like, I don't know what that would really amount to. Like, what would you gain? I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. What would you kind of like get plus wise? Can anyone think of any? Like, I don't know what you'd get like bonus wise. Like, their characters don't interact. It wouldn't add anything to either of them. It wouldn't really add anything to the story. I don't know. What's your opinion on the power of friendship as a whole? Depends entirely how it's handled. Depends on the scene. Depends on the setup. Like, I mean, it's silly to say like in general. Like most of the characters, like because they're fueled off of emotions, and you obviously have like you could have a character do a rage moment. It's like why is that okay? But why can't a character kind of like having that last ditch kind of like surge of energy fighting for somebody else, like why is that not okay? Versus like a moment where they just get pissed off and they just yell a bunch. I don't know. Yami versus Nozel. So that whole thing is kind of hard because Yami's thing, obviously, like he's got his black hole, which he's pretty much got like a little suction for spells. That come anywhere close to him, which would help a lot for Nozel and his spells. But obviously, Dimension Slash would just go right through Nozel's shield. I would probably go Yami at the moment until we maybe see a little bit more of Nozel. Have you seen Konosuba and Shield Hero? I read the Shield Hero, most of the manga. I have not watched much of the anime, and I've not watched Konosuba. But it's been on my I should check this out at some point to kind of list for a while. I gotta get to that one day.
Imagine if you actually took the blame for Asta. I don't think he would do that. That'd be kind of weird. Do you like the new opening for My Hero Academia Season 4? I haven't watched the new opening. Unless, like, I watched one of the trailers. I didn't pay attention enough to really kind of, like, determine an opening from that. Like, a song specifically. One second. I'm retweeting something. Oh, my God. No. Stop. Anyway. Where's some more of this? What's going on here? Soccer still sucks. Yeah, soccer is pretty awful. I had an amazing theory on where Yuno was, but I had such an obvious hole and simply forgot they showed us. His family is safe. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, though, like back at the church. Whose ideology did you find more fascinating? Littlefinger or Varys? I don't remember enough about either of them to like their whole like ideas and ideals to really kind of like give a whole thing about them. I thought Littlefinger was a more interesting villain, but I mean, out of the villains in Game of Thrones, my favorite was Ramsay because Ramsay was both like he was fucked up, he was smart, he took action, and he just was like an all around like devious, violent villain. Like he gave off that just like this guy's a piece of shit person, and you really just want to see him. Well, he's one of those villains where you can't wait to see him die, which was cool. I don't know. I mean, it's like a lot of the villains I think dropped. The Cersei was lame as hell the last season. She just stood in a wind. She stood in one balcony and just like drank wine and said like grouchy things. There was no like, oh hey, I'm like a really smart manipulative character. It was pretty much just like her being like, do something. Grr. Also watch Grand. I don't know what that is. Grand Explosion. Soccer or Sarada? I think Salad is fairly cool. I don't like Soccer. I think she's lame as hell. All I think is that the story of true Charlotte will learn to care for another guy besides Yami. I mean, I don't really know what it would really do. I mean, I don't think she'd really care. Anyone else reading Radiant season? Anyone else reading Radiant season 2 when it comes out? I'm reading the manga right now. I'm like halfway through volume 2. Attack becomes weaker though. Zora or Stain. Oh, I like Zora way more. Zora sees Asta as a true magic knight. Stain sees Deku as a true hero. Well, yeah, I swear to God that Tabata and Horikoshi plot things out. I swear. Wait, what is this? Someone. I was looking at someone. Someone linked what is the value of your Twitter? I mean, I don't know about that. No one's gonna. I was looking at anybody who watches SG Sammy. I know Sammy. He's like posted like, oh, my Twitter values. It was like $11,000. I'm like, I don't really know what you're gonna accomplish there. Nobody's gonna buy your Twitter for $11,000, lad. I don't know about that one, guy. I don't understand how monetizing Twitter accounts works though. Are you just pretty much shilling like, hey, check out this thing I like? I mean, if like some company was like, hey, we want to give you money to advertise advertise on Twitter, I'd be like, okay, hey guys, I really like this soda. Please buy some. And then they throw money at me. I don't know. Dragon Gods, anyway. I need to see more. I really want to see the Moon Dragon God because I'm very curious to what that's going to make out for the moon, because the moon we already know has like a weird magic quantity in Fairy Tail, and it also has this dispelling aspects to it. I still have my theory as well towards the Gold Dragon, because with the Gold Dragon has the fact that it has like this mysterious aspect to it even amongst the dragon gods, and the fact that it's gold, its name means Friday in Spanish, and it's like gold, mythological, kind of secretive, and all this. Like, what can you kind of like look at that and kind of tie around to that? Okay, one thing that I really like looking at is like El Dorado, like the lost city of golds from like, I don't know the full extent of the mythos. It's some form of Spanish mythos, but you know, you can kind of tie that in and really kind of like give a little cool thing. Maybe he's got like a hidden city. That'd be so cool. I'm hoping each of them have their own kind of like domains like this. Maybe Ignea's will have Ignea. I think if he has one, it's going to be like pretty much a Colosseum, like a Thunderdome from was it Blade Runner? No, Blade Runner, Mad Max. You know, something like the Thunderdome. Or what would the Mad Max mythos? Is the Mad Max kind of like World Series just called Mad Max? Oh, Tardaros is up. Hey, buddy. You want to come over here or what? I don't know if you could hear him. He's He's scratching up a scratching post. What are you doing, bud? Are you awake? I don't know how I got two cats with the opposite kind of takes, because one cat is super tsundere and the other one just he's overly affectionate. Anyway, but yeah, protect Nezuko. I haven't seen Nezuko hasn't been in the manga in a long time now that I think about it. Yes, Noelle will have a wand. Now she's in. I think she should get a staff. Could you imagine her with a staff? That would be really sick. We need to see some staffs in Black Clover. I am curious to know if other countries, maybe there's some that don't use grimoires. Maybe they use something like staffs. Maybe that'll be the Heart Kingdom. I don't know. Hinata or Rukia as best waifu. I mean, Rukia wasn't Ichigo's wife. That was Ranji's wife. Ichigo's was Orihime. I mean, I'll take Rukia over Hinata any day. It's not a thing. Final Dragon can split into multiple dragons. He's like 5-head dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh's. Where was I lose my spot a lot. I wish I had like a highlighter tool that I used to just. I feel like I'd mark up 2 stuff though so far. Favorite Dragon God? Yeah, mine so far is Ignia too. I really like Ignia. Tundra headbutts can also be a good source of memes. I don't know. I don't know if anything in Kometsu no Yaiba's memes can really beat the Nezuko running meme. I really like that one. Like that's such a good meme. I really like that one. 1 second. I always get distracted. Now, and it's funny, like, I even have to say 1 second. You guys can probably hear my loud-ass keyboard clicking. Oh, hold on. Strongest attack in Black Clover. Well, the attack from Demon Licked, like, Lumiere said was going to destroy the country, so I'm going to go with that. Even if just straight, like, not like, oh, crater, it's just like a shockwave. It's still the biggest attack by far and everything. I thought it was weird that Yuno was nowhere to be seen the last couple chapters. I mean, we haven't had that moment yet. Not yet. How long can Nezuko run? I don't know. I imagine all night. She's a demon. Favorite Yu-Gi-Oh rival? I mean, that's obvious. Seto Kaiba. An unrivaled Seto Kaiba. Kaiba, in my opinion, is the best rival character. I don't think I've ever seen a character in a series as a rival that can stack up with Seto Kaiba. Kaiba's just that Chad. Anyway, it's gone a little bit longer than than last week. We're at 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. And how do you think Alderaan will fight this arc? He better. I want to see this dude move. Like, I'd like the Dragon Gods. Like, we've seen 3 so far, and we're gonna see 2 more. But I doubt we're gonna see anything from Selene or Viernes that, like, just existence-wise, that makes me as hyped just to see Alderaan do something. Because, like, the fact he's that big, I just want to see what it's like for him to fight. I just want to see what his moves are like. Because it's going to be ridiculous. Like, obviously, his fighting, you're going to be able to, like, probably have a lot more time to dodge. Because he's huge. He's probably not as, like, straight fast as the others. But the AoE from his attacks are going to be ridiculous. Any more Black Clover memes that don't involve yelling? I like the yelling ones. I think they're funny. Anyway, yeah, I think this is about good. Luckily, we went longer than last week. I want to get to this, I want to finish rereading Radiant and then get to this Fairy Tail reread. And then Jujutsu Kaisen, I really want to record that video. This chapter was absolutely insane. So I can get to talking about that, upload that, and then Fairy Tail on Tuesday. So that's going to be sick. Eden Zero and 7 Deadly Sins tomorrow. Mobin's 7 Deadly Sins can keep up some good consistency. It's been fairly good the last couple chapters. Favorite Black Clover opening number 3. Wonder if Nezuko is more physically powerful than Tanjiro. I mean, yeah, we've already seen, like, physically she's much stronger. I mean, I won't go into details. Definitely stronger physically. Anyway, yeah, thanks everyone for showing up. I hope you guys have a good weekend. And what's tomorrow, Labor Day? I imagine most of you that are, will have tomorrow off. So, take that time to relax and then enjoy yourself. But on that, I appreciate everyone for showing up. And I hope you all, like I said, have a great day. Bye.